You did. He told me to fake.
Oh my God, there we go. Stay warm. Who has actually done that?
Sausage, right? What's your board?
Okay, it's in important. Go. Lovely talking to you. Mean it. All right, you ready? Go ahead and you got a quorum. We'll go ahead and call to order. I'm going to have Mr. Henry lead our invocation this morning.
Dear Lord, thank you for this morning, this beautiful morning. Let us make the right decisions. You got us down in the right direction. Set up future plans that will be in your name, I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. We're going to move to the adoption of the agenda.
Motion to approve the adoption of the agenda.
I'm all in favor.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It was. Yeah. All right. So Stuart, I'm going to let you take some time as well. We're just going to talk through structure. You've got a couple of items in front of you. Our goal here today is to really think through what our strategic plans and action plan for some goal setting. So well, actually kind of threefold, like a short-term goal, mid-term goal, and then long-term. We're breaking them down by sections to kind of keep us focused on what we're talking about in that specific kind of category. So like economic development, talking through community development, and then even trying to be thoughtful about what specific actions can we take as a council, what we can be directing staff to do, just to kind of keep the conversation flowing and focused. And I'm hoping that having some paper where you can jot down your ideas, your thoughts, discussions will make it a little bit easier.
Okay, so let's get going. This is a business meeting. We do have the storm on the way. We need to move through it promptly. But as Mayor Ashley outlined, I think this is very important. It sets the tone for the budget and then sets some clear strategies, goals, and objectives to achieve throughout the year. So by this time next year, we can pull up the same list and say, this is what we've achieved. And any good organization has a mission, a purpose, organization, goals, strategies, objectives. I expect to be measured on them myself. And that's then I can communicate those down to the staff as well. So we're all on the same page. The important thing to remember, in my opinion, in local government is we all have different roles and titles. But what it comes down to at the end of the day is we are a team. We must function as a team. The egos have to be checked at the door. We have to work towards common goals. Any ideas are welcome. I've gotten wonderful ideas from the custodians before. No one's view is not possible to help the organization advance. Okay, so I just have one thing. If everyone ever read Alice in Wonderland, there's a quote in there I've always thought was appropriate. And there's a scene where Alice comes through the looking glass and she says, and then there's a rabbit or something. And he says, "Are you lost, young lady?" And she says, "Yes." And he says, "Well, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there." In Alice in Wonderland. But we don't want any road. We want the right efficient road the right road that'll keep the organization chugging along. There's so many things happening now. We've got to be very clear and specific about what we want to achieve. So the mayor and I have been in consultation and with Stephanie on the goals. So we've outlined them as economic development, community development, operational excellence, infrastructure, facilities, and then all these discussions will wrap up with budget and CIP. I've harped on the need for CIP because it's a long-term capital strategy. We can't just be doing things month to month, year to year. We've got to start thinking out 5 and 10 years. The information you give me with LCWA on the CIP, it's clear now where that $2 million need for the upgrade for ammonium is, how that lays out in the sequence of the capital. So we can plan for that. It's not going to be a monumental task by looking well in advance. I've already got our consultants looking at grants for that. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. But it's important that we start these long range goals. All right. With that said, I will be quiet and let's start with economic development. Mayor, I like the way you laid out. We'll look at goals in the short term, the mid range, and the long term. Okay. So let's start with economic development. The floor is open. What is your vision? What direction and strategies do you think we should pursue? What are the goals we should pursue in the near term, mid term, and long term?
For me, I had a conversation with Matt Kersey, the chair of the EDA. He said part of the problem is that the council has never asked them or given them direction as to what they want to do. And that it is the council that pays members, not the EDA. So it is not their function to go out and find members. It is council's job to do that. And they have been provided no direction over the last decade. Hence, they have gotten no traction.
So here's
So the goal to create, I just want to make sure that we're focused on looking forward.
Well, that's
not
obvious.
backwards.
Let's hear.
So I want to stay focused on positive energy moving forward. And
Well, hold on.
so
Let me finish.
excuse me. So
I was.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Why don't you just finish and then let her speak?
So what that sounds like is maybe one of our goals is giving some direction to the EDA. And that's a very short term goal that we could work through.
That was what the sense was.
You're on the same page. Yeah. I think this is a clear goal, closer communication with the EDA.
Yeah, if we don't give them guidance, there is nothing for them to focus on.
I think they need clear goals from us, and then communicate it to them so we're working lockstep.
And we need clear goals from them as to how they approach the project and projects and how they're going to operate to solve the problem.
And do we want them to be focused on, and I don't know if this is kind of like a multi-layer effort. Do we want to have them focus more on the big fish? You know, kind of like what the IDA does for the county. Do we want to have them focus their efforts more right now on our downtown and working with the Virginia Main Street Initiative?
Yeah, correct. We're getting more into procedure than the substantive areas we want to go. So let's move to the true economic development concepts. What economic development concepts do we want to pursue? I mean, a clear one is promotion, advancement, opportunities and protection of the downtown. I think that's a given. We all agree on that, right? But somebody else articulate that.
We have initiatives that were obtained by the county
Uh,
for the town.
okay.
the town has not had much input into what they do with those initiatives, like the Main Street Initiative. Those grants, we already have them. Louisa Ford, we already have them, but they're not us. You don't control them. We need to become a bigger part of that decision making to take advantage of what we already have that we don't really have input in. And that's another tool for the EDA. We have that, but it's run by the county. It's not run by the town.
But what are, let's talk about the county's goals for the town then. What are they? I mean, in economics, I don't know.
Why can't we make our own goal?
Right. Correct.
And like, I feel like all of Main Street from down at, the Black Church.
Mhm.
All the
It
way
needs to go all the
down,
way down.
all the way down, the whole Main Street should be focused on not just a small part of it. And focus on the whole Main Street. That's Louisa, the town of Louisa. And I feel we need to focus on the whole area.
I agree. And
And the thing is, if we just focus on Main Street here, Benny's will feel left out, Scott will feel left out. You know,
Well, let's start at this. Our goal is how we're defining the Main Street.
right,
Where the clear definition of Main Street, which I'm still new. You guys educate me, please.
if we look at the reality of it, our focus has been on the lowest income producing businesses because we're only focusing on Frosties to the antique store. The majority of the money comes from all the other businesses and they are left out of that equation.
Well,
And I'm not saying they don't provide it, but I'm saying if you look at the total income base, the other stores, they're like, where's our Christmas decorations? And I heard that, why is it only always right here?
well, let's
But
try.
that's what he's trying to say.
I understand. Let's try not to talk about individual businesses.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the area. You said, what area are we talking about? That is the area
So,
focus is on.
Geographically, tell me, I'm new. Tell me what the boundary of the Main Street should be considered.
The town boundary.
Okay, so,
town limits.
okay, the town limits. Okay.
I think there's a way to isolate when you're speaking about kind of like other areas will have like historic or downtown. So I do think there's really kind of a downtown district of Main Street, which is that kind of shortened block. But then we, of course, have Main Street that extends from Purcell's all the way to Woodward.
Yeah.
And then Pizza Hut, it kind of extends out that way.
The thing is, if we're talking about beautification and.
That's really the entire Main
Yes,
Street.
but if we get talking about infrastructure, then we gotta talk about the whole thing.
Yeah.
We can't leave roads out over here not being paved and pave other areas. It's got to be the whole town if you start talking about infrastructure.
So that's news to me. So you guys consider the downtown from the entry point of the sign to the other side?
Yes.
Well, I consider downtown, like when I think downtown Main Street, to me, that is Frosties to, that is historic Main Street, that is actually town.
So is that a historic designation or do we want to?
No.
They talked about it at, I mean, some of the discussions way back, no, not way back, but for me, that assume you have a historic designation that limits you to certain things on the buildings. That's what some owners were not wanting to do. That's not good understanding.
That's,
Not what to do, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
there are rules. If you get a historical designation, then construction has to be conforming.
Place, but those people have leases. So we need to do something with that. Everybody wants another grocery store But where are you gonna put it? That's about the only place you can put it, and nobody wants to move in there. So we have to have some way to enact, drive the economic development to try to revitalize that area there, because I don't think we have any more land, do we? I don't
No.
think we do.
So if we want to, again, focus the efforts on the economic development, does it make sense to look at what are things that we can do for that downtown space? And then what are things that we're doing for the businesses to support economic development?
That's an excellent idea, because what they talk,
I do think it's kind of two different approaches. Like some of it will overlap, but I do think it'll be kind of two differing approaches on.
correct, and I'm passing on information, they taught me at the UNC School of Company. Economic development, things that government does to incentivize market. So government's not gonna go and build a grocery store. It's what government does to incentivize a private developer to do.
Correct.
So what is our strategy to provide incentives for a grocery store to come there, or a new downtown business to set up shop? What economic incentives do we want to consider? I always hear the easiest one is we'll give them a tax. Tax rebate. And that you can do discounted phases of taxation, and that is allowable in some fashion, whether it's straight up discount or a grant reimbursement of taxes where they submit the tax and then you would pay it back. I'd have to look at the form that can do that as an economic incentive, but that's only one. There's other things. And here's an idea for the EDA. Take, and we used this with ARPA money before, you set up a revolving loan fund. I've done it with using ARPA, but there's other ideas as economic incentives. So let me get back to the original question. What does our town want to do as an incentive to do these businesses to come here? Grocery store, urgent care, downtown shops, retail mix. What do we want to look into? Strategy.
Well, urgent care wouldn't bring that much tax in here. We need it, don't get me wrong. We need it, but it wouldn't bring as much tax in there for us to give them any kind of incentive. Really think.
I'll in here and give them. So I'll set the lack of foot traffic they want.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying even if they did have the foot traffic, it isn't much you can do in the tax part of it to get them here. So much as I would love to see a urgent care here, it's gonna be tough to give them an incentive.
They tried it, UVA had it at Side Crossroads. It lasted 2 years and then they shut it down because of profit.
The urgent care?
Yeah, we had one here.
But they're opening it back up now.
And they're doing the experiments.
This is the dialysis center, but they're not doing emergency care. They're not gonna have it 24/7. So, but we have one. It's now a dialysis center, but it lasted, I think, two or 3 years at the most, and then they shut it down. And when I talked to them, they said it was because it was a drain on the monetary operations. And if Side Crossroads can't support it, we would have. That's my only reason for bringing it up. But we would have a hell of a time supporting it.
I understand we gotta have 40 patients a day.
Okay, so let's break this down. Did you have a thought? I'm sorry. Look like that.
I was just gonna ask if we wanted to kind of think, like, not just on individual businesses, but like kind of what that policy should be explored for, that is applicable to multiple, so that we're not just targeting one specific business. We can get, to your point, a rebate or whatever that.
All right,
looks
well
like.
then, okay, good.
I think, and it's more of a short term mid range. We have the training as an opportunity that we never had as tourism before. I don't know if you want to focus on small businesses on the historic downtown who benefit from the training. Other businesses can too, but restaurants don't really do these things myself, so I'm not pretty sure where else you go. But
Yeah,
it's often
no,
we haven't had before.
Yeah.
And it's not really a long-term opportunity. Well, hopefully it is, but we need to bring it to the short-term mid-range because it's already starting to mature. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe small business support and
in the downtown area.
yeah, and a hotel is another thing that might be, the man might be driven from the train for that. That's a really, it hasn't been what we've ever focused on folks who never had the opportunity. So it's something we probably need to,
And we'll put a hotel overlay.
That's one reason why I'm saying the whole downtown expand. The downtown can expand from this. Doesn't have to be set in just one little locality there. We can expand it on out like a motel
Well, that,
down East Main Street, that type.
yeah, I think we're all in agreement that downtown is all of our small town business, but I think his point is with the railroad, we have a golden opportunity to provide complementary small town business.
Mhm.
So, it's a sign that God is watching.
Yeah. Everyone wants a second grocery store. They're tired of Food Lion. They
Yeah.
want another option that they don't have to wait in line for an hour to check out. There's only one grocery store.
This storm has been an example.
Okay, well, let's go.
Yeah, we stay on what John's,
Right,
get that goal kind of outlined and then we can move to that
Correct.
kind of larger scale.
Agreed.
Because we do need another
Yeah.
grocery store.
Okay,
So if we focus on downtown.
Yeah.
As like. I'm believing does that look like, if we do attract more like bed and breakfast or little boutique hotels, could we look at kind of like the county does their transit occupancy tax? You can increase it a little bit and then do a holdback of a certain percentage that then we can use to help support the tourism. Does that look like using that? If the businesses could use it for marketing, that's kind of that rebate back to them. We collect 5%, but we give them back 2% to help with their marketing, to attract customers, to help them get people in the door. Do we look at a hotel overlay on areas that have already been developed and at least
excellent ideas.
identified as SUPs or PUDs here in the town that we could maybe shift that development from residences or townhomes to a smaller hotel.
Okay, so let's articulate this as a clear goal. Our first goal is clearer, closer communication with the EDA and from the EDA. Our next goal is support of small town businesses. You want to just keep it that general, or do you want to break that down into specific objectives?
I can't break it down any further right now. I don't know to do that. I mean, I'm sure someone else has a better idea than mine. God's sick. We can put that in a short-term goal to support small businesses.
And we have to look at the zoning. To do some of the things that you're talking about, we need to look at the zoning, because we're gonna take away somebody's residential zoning to put a hotel.
This is just,
Yeah, no, I know, I'm saying there are other parts to it before that we have to look at. And you're right, it would,
Okay,
the focus should be on, like you said, the short-term goal is getting the EDA up and running and giving them the support they need so they can go out and do what they need to do. And because there is no place to put a hotel on the historic Main Street area.
I don't think we need to get too far.
No, so I said we need to focus. My point is, it's not down, when we say downtown, we need to realize that downtown is the whole strip.
We agree
Yeah.
with that.
So,
But there's a historic core of
yes,
the downtown
Yeah.
surrounding the railroad area that we want to.
which is where most of the smaller businesses are.
Yeah.
Correct.
So does that look like, from an EDA perspective, could they, leverage opportunities to help them with facade improvements? Beautification projects that as the tourists are coming in from the train, because like to John's point, they're coming, that the town is walkable, it's beautiful, they want to, foot traffic it, not just say, well, it looks
I don't know, but this is a question. I have no idea. How much of an increased foot traffic has the train provided to those businesses? Exactly how much is it?
We don't have the data. All we know is there's about 8 trips of 50 people.
They had 2 trips yesterday that were, full, the line. They had to cancel their one today. Next Friday, they're sold out for 2 trips.
But are they going, are they walking down? That's my question. Are they physically going or are they getting in their car?
They are going to Obrigato's, so you know that. They've
Senate train on River.
spoken Eddie's, pick up.
About it.
I mean, honestly, Obrigato's is got a monopoly on it right now because they're the only ones that are open in the evenings. And I actually talked to Jason this morning and he said he had multiple people, about 60-40 split on the trains yesterday, 60% Louisa, 40% out of towners, Loudon, Richmond, Fredericksburg. He said people just kept saying, what can I do here? I don't see any, like, what can I do here? I want to go spend my money. I want to go walk downtown. So he sent them up to Obrigato's for their evening dinner. But I mean, that's one thing is we've got to, supporting those people who want to open that brick and mortar so that there's something for those. They're looking for it. I just don't know how much of them are getting into it now because there's just not.
Yeah, I have no share. That's why I'm asking.
My question is, the EDA. How financially are they set? How are they set up to help these businesses? We don't know.
They have they have a fund, their own separate fund, I think it's 50,000.
But I mean, are we gonna put more on than they can handle or?
Yes, that's a question for the joint meeting, I think.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the folks get off the railroad and they want more options, but it's not just those folks. I think the citizens now.
They do.
Yes,
They want clothing store.
so let's
They
get,
want grocery store.
right, so how about a goal is to create. How many articles? Create, a diverse mix of retail, opportunities, something like that, okay?
I would like to see that in mid-range.
Create a diverse mix,
That's a 2 to 5 year time span.
right, of retail shops. Now, so that's a goal, and what you've already touched on, Ashley, is the objectives to achieve that. Do you do an overlay? Do you do economic incentives with the EDA? Do you use chamber grants? You're getting more into the objectives to the goal, but the goal is to create a more diverse retail mix.
And we break down, I see you have two, your goal two on short term, what's
Support of small town business.
is in short term? Okay, so we have in short term, is support the businesses we have now, and then the ones that are gonna come in the next couple of years, and then the midterm goal for that is diversify our retail options. Okay, just to make sure I was hearing that right.
Yeah.
Understand that correctly.
Well, in my hearing, we're all on the same page on that.
I have support the businesses we have, which we try to do. I visit them every year. I go to every single business in this town.
Well, that is one way to support.
And I ask them, what do we need to do for you?
And what do they say?
And they say the traffic, because the people don't pull in because they're so tired of waiting for traffic. They just want to get their hell through Louisa. So if we
Oh,
could
really?
fix the traffic issue, so if somebody wants to go, it's a heck of a lot easier to get on the interstate to go to Lowe's and Walmart's than it is to get into Ace Hardware sometimes.
Oh, no.
And the traffic at the
So traffic congestion,
congestion,
alleviation of traffic congestion would help the business.
it does
I
help.
mean, and it thank you for to the structure too.
That's why we put that.
I will also say businesses, at least when I've had conversations with them, do talk a lot about the downtown events and festivals. That, if they could have a couple of those a year, when you look at the Christmas parade, like huge this year, huge last year. If you can recreate that multiple times a year, that sustains them pretty well. They do so well for those day or two that it does keep them in the black for a little bit. So I think,
Offer more events.
yeah, like a more tangible, easy like high impact, low risk is those events.
Yeah, so I think it's timely that we have this events committee,
Mhm.
because that is what folks are clamoring to see. Go ahead.
Some of the short term for kind of
Is that, I'm just
splitting
like,
off of that,
does that go under short term or is that not being written?
what he just wrote was on midterm.
Well,
But then,
actually,
I just, you know,
uh,
I'm looking at your sheet.
alleviation of traffic congestion is more of a mid-range, but I'm sorry, offer more downtown events is immediate.
Okay, yeah, that, I was kind of breaking out just on that, I was gonna say short term, and if we had, or we tried to have a farmer's market that was, you know, ongoing year to year thing, and it kind of fizzled out in two times, it all took off.
then also,
But if we coordinate with when the training is running during the summer, it would bring those people from, well, some of those people from the training down to the market, at least you have a drive to go to the same location, if you could put that fair farmer's market event
yeah,
in the fairground instead of over where it used to be, which was right by the bank of, not Bank of Louisa, United Banks.
Yeah.
It's changed so many times.
All right,
And if you even wanted it, like in the, like the fairgrounds are great, because of the parking and it gives availability there. Have them on Main Street. I know that we've got a couple of churches that have expressed interest in and are welcoming of letting the farmers market also potentially be in their parking lot. So that at least they're still on the main drag, but not, you know,
the farmers market needs to be revived because this is an agricultural community. I don't know what they're doing in the county. I've heard some things, maybe they're doing the middle, but this is ideal because it's central to a large county. And we get up farmers market almost bi-weekly or even weekly.
we had it weekly.
Yes, and that is, it's set up for that, is it not? Stalls.
Well, we might be able to, if it wasn't, and if we could block off the side of the courthouse and have the farmer's market right there, it would get a heck of a lot more traffic than where it was before. It would, everybody would see it coming through and they could stop and you'd have more participants. And we do have the ability to block that off. Now, it would,
Like that at all.
That's not, we'll go to the.
yeah, but if we could block it off for festivals and events, we can block it off to farmer's market.
Let's just, before getting too far, Louise, let's just call it goal farm,
The farmer's market.
downtown events,
events.
the revived farmers.
And then we don't have to lease any land because it's already there.
We can work out the details.
Yeah,
But this brings me to one, offer I'd like
so
to,
that's short term, right?
yes, that's part of community events, yes, that's a place to start.
No, we're still in.
Let's not economic development.
Okay,
Okay, so I think we need a downtown master plan. I think we need to talk to the chamber. Say, find a Main Street grant to have a downtown master plan. I talked to Christian, and he agreed. That does a bird's eye view of parking, connectivity to the surrounding areas, including the sidewalk. The sidewalk project should have been part of a larger downtown master plan. Would have been my opinion that before you go down that path, you need to show everybody what your downtown plan is for connectivity into all the incoming neighborhoods. Because it's not just that area, it's all the town. And the big thing in the urban planning now is to be a bikeable, pedestrian friendly community. I'm not sure the VDOT roads are too narrow to allow bike lanes, but you never know how things will turn out. Anyway, I think we need, in my opinion, we need as a goal a downtown master plan,
that should be short term.
right? And that would be a discussion with Chamber or Main Street.
The Chamber / Ford Foundation are both the same, so Tracy.
And so that would include everything, parking, the train station, the
The whole, and don't forget that the Sage building is part of our economy. And so we have that section of 33, we have to include that when we're talking about business support. Because there's a lot of businesses in there.
no business can, we have to include the whole
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Don't just think it's Main Street, because it's not. We have businesses going down 33 too.
I understand. The downtown master plan needs to focus on a clearer definition of what we consider the downtown, whether it's historic downtown or broader. So we do need some clarity on the definition, but a downtown master plan would do that. You know, I think that needs to start right now.
Yeah.
If you ask Tracy for that, because that would include the parking issues and the additional railroad traffic, sidewalks and everything. Okay, so downtown master plan, let's make that a goal. All right,
So you got 3 good goals for short term.
yeah.
Mid-range.
Tie it together.
I had 2 for mid-range, alleviate congestion, diverse range of retail. Is that right? That what you have?
What I have is goal 1 immediately is clear communication with the EDA about goals and from that as well. The next one.
You're on the short term.
Right. The next one is support of small town businesses. That's immediate, is it not?
Okay.
So that's short term. Create a diverse mix of retail shopping. That's more mid-range.
Mhm.
Alleviation of traffic congestion is mid-range.
Okay, so
And then
that's how.
offer more downtown events is immediate, such as a farmer's market. Downtown master plan is immediate.
So we have nothing on long term.
Well, okay, okay. Let's talk about that.
That's where I think
Yeah.
the hotel and other planning comes in. That is long term. Because the infrastructure we have does not support our hotel from expanding or repairing itself. So there are other things that need to go into that before we can drive people to come here to do that. And I don't know, but like I was telling John, I don't think our available space for somebody to come in is almost nil. So unless we figure out a way we're gonna have to take something down and put something up.
There's something called urban infill, which is the redevelopment of existing buildings.
Mhm.
And is some vacant land around, I've noticed. But even your shopping center that's out of business is an opportunity.
Yes.
It's a land and a building. So there's all kinds of opportunities. But let's get back to
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I think that's a long term, because there are other issues that go along with that. It's gonna take longer than 1, 2 years or to fix but that would be a perfect place to put it.
Okay, but let's in the long term, let's break it down into long-term projects are really infrastructure. For instance, you may want to extend a sidewalk or improve a sidewalk through an area to create more incentive for people to walk to that area. That maybe down from here down that way. I don't know. The long-term projects are really the infrastructure type problems. You think of something. Like
Traffic congestion is gonna be a long-term project. It just started mid-range. But it's gonna stretch out way past 5 years.
Yeah, that
We'll
will,
talk to VDOT.
I just drew a line
You're right.
across.
That'll take 5, 7 years to get around to.
Yeah.
Becoming a.
So is that mid-year or?
We need to talk to them. Think about it later.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
put
it's
it
not
in,
gonna happen until 5.
exactly. I put it in mid-range and I drew an arrow going across.
Well, just so you know, in my weekly update, I described that we've already had a meeting with VDOT, with the county and us, and we're creating a task force right now. And have already agreed that the answer is gonna be, how we regulate buses and, the volume of traffic that goes on the road, but there's other things you can do from an engineering capital.
Traffic, I mean, it starts now, but sometimes it takes a long time to see an effect. So that kind of stretches out, honestly, in my mind, from short term all the way to long term, because it's gonna be ongoing.
Okay,
There's gonna be development, data center construction that is gonna fluctuate traffic for the next 20, 30 years. So you're gonna have periods of slower flow, periods of faster flow, depending what's going on, where it's going in the county. So I think it just, that needs to be a focus that we have to have, but we don't have complete control over certain other agencies funding.
Right.
So it should be on sheet everywhere. We shouldn't expect immediate.
We're not gonna see immediate results.
The thing is, too, population grows. Our responsibilities grow,
In the apartments, they build the apartments, so.
salaries and stuff. We start taking
We built
over.
roads at 2,500 or 3,500. Right now, we don't have the control of that's the part that's.
Once you hit 2,500 population, you
It's 25,
3,500.
But, you know, once we reach that population, which will be probably in 5 years, deal. We gotta start taking on the maintenance and so forth and,
I mean, the one thing about,
plan for that.
you know, if we don't have a 5-year set goal with economic development, like, I think that's okay, just given how the economy can wax and wane, like, that could look very different, but at least we have a direction of what we know.
Most definitely the traffic, from what I've heard, is going to increase because of the days. That's the word that they.
That is, yeah.
I'm seeing now with the dump truck traffic and the large loads coming through. And see what it was, cool, and that's, worse, but
But that's interesting how you've lumped that as economic development goal, because if the downtown business are being hurt, are the downtown businesses being hurt by the increasing volume of traffic? Because I heard it is.
Yeah, some said there's no parking.
Uh,
Village furniture, there's no place for anybody to park. How are they gonna stop and come in when there's no place to put their car?
There's a Kelsey's parking lot right across the street.
Use that vacant.
The definition
A
of
parking very,
distance.
Exactly.
Store, some people want to be right there when they're not.
and they will not
Oh,
walk
well,
behind
yeah,
the
these three cars.
stores. Yeah,
Well, okay, we've already
Yeah, I don't
talked
wanna
about
go-
traffic congestion seems to be part of economic development and as it affects parking. But let's try to wrap up economic development. Did you want to set as goals specific types of businesses? For instance, we could set a goal to recruit a new grocery store. However, we can say that. Will the food line executive call me? I don't know.
it doesn't matter. He's been had competition before. It's only, they shut down because they couldn't repair the place anymore and it was a health hazard. So I would say we could focus on what the biggest requests were. And just to me, it was clothing and grocery.
Okay.
I don't know what anybody else has heard, but that's just the ones that I've heard. And don't forget, we have the west side of Main Street beyond the historic district. There's a lot of space there that needs revitalized that nobody focuses on. And that's what they see when they come in from that side of town.
Is that all that?
With the grocery stores. Probably food lines, that would expand.
So let's set some very clear goals. Expand grocery.
Grocery and clothing. Got everything. So the two we're missing.
Yeah.
We're keeping that in 2 to 5.
I'm gonna make sure it's funny. In grocery clothing, I think we can pursue in the chamber. We can't all say, we want to pursue grocery and clothing now. Okay. Wants to take no. Um, here's Peter time. Who wants to call it? Don't make decisions based purely on the population. So somebody's gonna have to pull a marketing tool to say, look, Mr. Executive, we got all these data centers and they're already, I'm getting population projections from that, from VDOT. You know, here's a golden opportunity with this population expansion. We're in the center of a rural county with limited options. It's a prime area for you. Somebody's got to do that work, but we have to set it as a goal and target.
Yeah. And then from the actions.
Right.
Think about a person to do that,
Right,
like an employee.
correct. Well,
Something economic development would do.
but they don't have the staff, is her point.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So, I mean, no offense, but they're not paid staff is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They don't have paid, dedicated 40-hour week staff to drive it. But we can work that out in coordination. But let's get back to, let's set this as a short-term goal. Expand grocery and clothing options.
So that goes over to short term.
Yes, correct.
So the long term was the infrastructure, was that correct? And that's just infrastructure with quotation marks, because
Well-
it's multiple things.
Infrastructure, what area of the town were you referencing?
West side, you come in and you see the auto stores, the empty business locations.
Is the infrastructure of the town there?
Oh, there on VDOT, no, that is not, there's no sidewalks or anything going like that. That part of the infrastructure, there is more, I think it's more of what it looks like coming into town and what could be done with those businesses there to help
Well,
them out.
Again,
And they're working on it. There are new businesses that have been going in here.
well,
But the
that
infrastructure,
gets back to support of small towns.
Right.
But the question is, as I stated, economic development is the things government does to make it more attractive for business to show up and spend money.
right, that's what I'm saying,
So what if-
sidewalks out there.
So,
They have paved roads, they would have their own parking, there's no general parking or anything out in that area.
so the infrastructure you're referencing are sidewalks.
Sidewalks and parking,
Any other thoughts on it?
For about 5 years. I know what plays in, I know. I'm actually not one to only bring this up, but lighting.
yeah,
Sidewalk
lighting.
lighting.
Sidewalk lighting, okay.
Too low.
Yeah, I'm against street lights. I don't like skies, but everyone else says they can. So we should probably put that on the list.
You live in the country? People live in the country for that,
Yeah, I
He's moving to the countryside.
did. Steve right outside my house, walk around that flashlight.
Yeah, you always put in your plans to shop.
You can see the stars. But that's a good point. Because, look, we are trying to protect the small town of life. The big city has what they call light pollution. Lights are everywhere. Big, vast light.
You can see like Louisa from right outside of town.
Mhm.
We can go. Well, with expanding lighting, expand view, expand your street lights outside, east or west. Put your banners up and other stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Doesn't go one hell of a bulbs.
all right, very good. We've covered a lot of ground here. One thing I do want to add is I've looked at the industrial park. I want to consider more of it's all, the zoning is all to manufacturing. The wording of it is about old businesses based on 1950s pottery and ceramics. And it's not appropriate for, in my opinion, a modern industrial park, which needs a technology sector. I've talked about that in meetings, and I think the industrial park needs, the zoning needs to be revised. I'm going to talk to each of y'all individually, spoken to some of you. But it needs, Industrial park is the prime location to expand our tax base. And as we all agree, our taxes are too reliant on consumption taxes, meal taxes, and sales tax. The tax base needs to expand. I mean, if we can expand with some good profitable businesses, then we can lower the tax rate and not have to tax citizens. We can get more business property tax and real estate tax. Okay, so I would like to propose adding in the short term a revision of the industrial parks. Is that okay?
Under
Would that,
Put it in.
would that be actions? I feel like that's an action. That is something that you can take and do right now.
Well, I'd like to set it as a goal first. It's just revise the industrial park zone. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Um, right. Okay, then we covered a lot of ground, but um, the real on the ground thing is your action items will require legwork, staff work to market the town and collect the data that they're gonna want to see and as you approach them. So that's a further discussion for the chamber and the EDA.
Yeah, and to add to that, every business I've ever talked to said they are tired of having a voice in this town. And I told them, I'm sorry, you can't vote. And they said, well, if you can't allow us to vote, what other option do we have to address our concerns? Because the chamber doesn't always listen to what we have to say. And so that they do to some, then some of them have pulled themselves out because they feel that it doesn't benefit them. They focus more on other the lake or whatever. So if there's a way that we can create that small town business entity where they can have someone that they can contact and say, this is what I need, you get what I'm saying.
Understand. And the way to do that is have the Main Street, work with the Main Street group to create regular meetings where they are organized and the downtown business owners can come and talk to the Main Street. If I can get caught up, I will try to take a lead on that. I've done this before. And then you just start holding forums to say, what do they need? More lighting or what? And Chief Knockman and I talked about going door to door to businesses. Before Christmas, I went to the antique shop, talked to the business owner there for 20 minutes. Talking as the mayor did, these businesses, what's the impact of the railroad? How's things looking? And we need to start doing more actual door to door outreach. Okay, but we're all limited on time and staff. We got to figure out who's have the right organizational forum.
And you brought that up, that's why I'm asking, do we need a staff member dedicated to?
We need more staff. We'll talk about that as we get.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
She's talking about downtown business. Yeah, you don't see them come to a meeting and voice any concern. Or they need to get more active and come, we need to get that out from them, that they need to come and get more active in our meeting and voice their opinions in our meetings. They got 3 minutes to voice their opinion.
There needs to be more community engagement, and I applaud you. You're trying to do more outreach to the owners and citizens so we can bridge that gap. But ultimately, the solution is going to be give them a proper schedule for monthly meetings in the downtown that are organized by the chamber or the Main Street. Come in, all the business owners sit around and say, what do we as a group want from the town or the chamber? I suggest number one is a downtown master plan that talks about parking, lighting, retail mix options. There's some plan out there already, but it just needs to be moved forward. Okay.
We need to get it out. building owners and the businesses both know that, in case there's a turnover of business or whatever, they know there's options for them to communicate.
Sure, I guess.
So my company runs a business networking group, a little small group. We meet once a month. We would be more than welcome to host and turn that into a small business, because that's what it's for, is for business owners. For all of you spoke there before, speaking to the members of that group. We're open for it to grow, and we're open to host it, as far as like facilitating it on an operational matter, and seeking out spots to host meetings, which is hard to do, by the way, and keeping people engaged with it. We've been doing this group now for 2 years, and I was so surprised when I got to Louisa that there's nothing like this. But that was also a reason I called Louisa out, so it was an opportunity. But we do a very good job of that, and we've been consistently hosting for 2 years now. And we'd be more than glad to say, hey, we work with the town, expand that group, and we'll facilitate it on the operational side.
I can get, we can give you some emails and contacts for.
And we'll go to them, and I'll go to them and talk to them. Hey, you got your name. We have this going on. Invite you, we'll let you come. So I've knocked that out, and I'll have to be a paid employee.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, small section shots out.
All right, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Someone to take the lead, organize, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that, the downtown groups, to get them a voice, a concerted voice, in conjunction with the chamber, who is downtown, and the Main Street. Eventually. But yeah, I my apology for taking the lead on it. Okay, all right, we do need to move on. How are we doing on?
Yeah.
Ooh, 10 o'clock.
So can we go to community development?
Yes, let's move into community development. Let's go to this one and then we'll take a break. Okay? All right, so floor is open. Let's talk about how we're defining community development. I know, Mayor Ashley, this is one of your passions, why don't you?
Yes, the thing for me, community development is just ensuring that we are within our means of providing the resources that support all of our community. So our families, our elderly, our young adults that are trying to come back home and have, a connection, like very much ensuring that we are creating spaces that makes that connection as easy as possible, that it's not prohibitive, that there aren't obstacles to people being able to be a part of this community, and really establish like that culture within our town. I think we have a lot of pride here in Louisa. People are very proud of this community. We've got good volunteers, good hearts, like as you just heard, that is such a Louisa thing for someone to volunteer their time and say, I want to do this. So for me, as someone who moved here 10 years ago and got very connected within the community through church and sports and things like that, I do think it's important that we create opportunities for people to be able to connect in more meaningful ways. So like a lot of those like community events will do that. So it'll be a lot of kind of overlap between, you do a community event, it connects people, but it also increases and supports small businesses. So I feel like those are just things that I think about.
Well, then,
I'm sorry, do you have any specific, not that we can write down, but what specific items are you talking about? Because I'm looking at we have 1.4 square miles. So with what we have, what are you talking about that you think we could do? Not a specific item, but just like a category or whatever.
2.5.
Yeah. 1.4 on the map.
I mean, the low hanging.
No, it's not. It's the boundary.
Yeah.
It's that.
The low hanging fruit is the community events you're talking. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a no brainer. That's
Something for the young.
Yeah, so what ideas?
Not just events, like,
So let's do one goal, expansion of community events. That's a low hanging fruit. We know that.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm looking for specifics, just what, you know.
So community events, but those to Roger's point are you're here, they're gone. And tourists come, it's almost a lot of it's tourists as well. Okay. So let's pick up Roger's thought. What do you elaborate on that one?
like a winery or brewery, somewhere where people can gather and, something like Avocados has, but.
Yeah.
More. We need it more for younger people,
Yeah.
you know, people gather and.
Community places. Every small town in Virginia now has a brewery, microbrewery, and there's a lot of good, if you love beer. I don't want to get into your drinking. So,
Hey, don't.
wine, beer or wine, every small town has that. And if you travel in Europe, the Irish pubs are the mainstay of the community. Scotland, you're in Scotland.
Oh, yeah,
They
every
drink
quarter
that,
there's 10,
yeah, and it's that,
and they're all packed.
because it's a community location,
Mhm.
it's a community gathering. But we definitely need something
Yeah,
of that.
that, what about that's for the older crowd?
So I know that you talked passionately about bathroom facilities.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of community development is, looking at our parks, looking at, what we have available, how we can improve those so that because they are underutilized right now. And we need, like Vicky has talked about it, and she is absolutely right. We need to have, thoughtful, and I don't know if that's a 1 to 2 year, if that's a 2 to 5, but thinking, and that's part of capital improvement, I know that's all gonna filter into it. But even looking at our parks, that could also become a source of revenue for us as well, or even if we don't want to utilize it for revenue. No one has somewhere where they can have a birthday party, like they've got the art center, but it's very limited, like what kind of spaces do we have that could be used for?
Yeah, right there. It's all that space there.
Exactly.
But it needs to be developed because Porta Johns aren't gonna get it. I think we'll put that in the CIP, you know.
Yeah. The other thing with because I'm tied into a lot of legislative stuff.
Yeah.
There are grants available if you want to put a type of physical activity into an existing park. The government will give you the money to do it. You just have to apply for it. But we still have the other issue with the bathroom to get them there. But there are grants out there right now that we could put other stuff out at our park. We just have to apply for them.
Map in your.
Yeah, it's any physical activity. It's pretty physical activity.
To do, still available or not. So the map in your office right there showing that Indian village and all kinds of stuff out there. And, there was a grant for it. But I don't know if it's gone to the wayside.
Well, that was a missed opportunity, but maybe we can pull it back up again. But, okay, let's get back to,
So we could improve the park. I don't know if a bathroom would fall into that grant category, but the rest of the stuff, like a pickleball, we've got the space on the right side of that park, and that would definitely bring people in and more people there. And then they're gonna get thirsty, and then they're gonna get hungry.
And that building setting over there. Needs a big waste, but, it's solid. The metal building. That could have the bathrooms in it, and it could have a thing for flea markets. Different things. It could have a wedding venue there, but it could have. Just a lot of potential just sitting there going. Sitting there.
So for short term, we could say, develop, town park.
Yeah, we'll just call it park.
Yeah, just call it parks.
Park development.
Because the grants, the applications are open now. That's not something we can wait 2 or 3 years or anything.
No, it has to have the money. Okay. All right, so we got community events, which is the easy one, because we all agree on that. Community places such as let's call it community gathering places. Such as pubs, what else?
Would that be mid-range and microbrew? I mean, they have to reach out, they have to,
If I had the time, I would do a Google search of all the microbreweries in the small town.
so you want to
And I
start
would-
that under short term?
Yes,
That's why I'm asking, would
Yeah.
that be under short term? or-
correct.
Okay,
Yeah, we got space here, right?
yeah,
We got retail spaces per se. Heard of some, yeah.
It would do it.
It's just, we've got to get coordinated. Who are the microbreweries in Charlottesville and the Richmond area, Gordonville, Fredericksburg? Call them and say, do you want to come here? We got space. And then we have a town ambassador to take them there and show.
one of the reasons and then this is kind of a little backside. One of the reasons I brought up the development where the old grocery store was is because the businesses left are only there because they still had the active lease. The other businesses left because their lease was not renewed by the owner. When their leases are up, they're gone. There's no Dollar Tree, there's no Family Dollar.
Well,
So it's a bigger problem than what it looks like from the outside, because that whole shopping center is gonna end up being empty. But so
yeah, I hear you, but I consider that an opportunity.
it is an opportunity.
Because
that-
if they leave, I'm suggesting with all the population growth here is ample opportunity to attract new businesses.
Yeah, and they could build right there.
Correct.
But
So
in the meantime, Family Dollar and Dollar Tree is for summer.
So it's not the businesses and attracting the businesses, it's the people who own the land and the people who own the buildings. So you have to have a really, really strong negotiator from the town, to be able to make those landman type calls. And say, look, here's the deal, here's what we want to do, and here's what our attorneys are telling us.
Yeah, and it's for sale. Been for sale for years.
Right, but see, nobody wants to buy something
Oh, yeah.
like that because we don't now development into new growing small towns is all hinged around walking.
Yeah.
So if developers are seeing us taking the opportunity to connect neighborhoods to our downtown to our parks, they're gonna say, okay, I want to invest in this community. And that's a huge thing. So your structure of goals and understanding how they fall is going to be something that's really big, because the idea is to get Kroger or Publix or whoever to come in, also to get a clothing store. But those stores are going to look at that thing of our development. How are people in this town getting around, and people coming through this county getting around? And that's going to determine whether they want the opportunity to put their business there. So if you're looking at it, I would carefully structure your timeline of what happens to be able to attract these people. And then you can talk to your landowners.
Saying we may need the infrastructure first.
Yeah, that's something, because the grants for that are there. If you tell the federal government that you want to connect all of your walking to a park, they're like, absolutely. If you tell them that you have a fairground, you want to make it an entertainment venue for your arts center, just like you said, it's there. All these things are there. We just have to have them correctly. I don't know if you can probably get it done quick enough. I don't know if you can find the construction help to do it.
well, let's put that in the goal. So community connectivity, we talked about that, connectivity in the community.
Not only community, the commercial growth too, connect it all together, make it all together.
Connectivity, okay,
Is that under short term? Or starting to take action? And that just goes across, I mean, or is
Well-
that midterm?
I think it starts immediately. It's connected to that downtown master plan I talked about. Master plan should talk about connectivity to the downtown.
Mhm.
How the majority neighborhoods in Lynchburg, where I grew up now, Liberty is driving all the growth around the Wards Road corridor. And what the city did to facilitate that was built a bridge from the university over the 29 bypass to the shopping centers. And all of a sudden, you see 5 Starbucks
Right.
within a mile. Because all that, they created the walkability from the university into the Wards Road corridor is just big. Then again, now it's a traffic nightmare.
They put that bridge on 29 in Charlottesville there too, right? They
Yeah.
connected so you could walk over into that. Like whatever they call, was it? Yeah, the,
Right there.
or the mall was there. So you cross 29 across that bridge and get over to like. Austin.
Okay.
We have on here increase affordable housing. We have all this Section 8 housing in the county is located in the town of Louisa.
There is Section 8 housing.
A lot of Section 8 housing. And the problem is that
Is there vacancies in it? Or?
no, there's multi-year waiting lists and the housing that we do have does not accept their vouchers because their vouchers do not cover the rent because the affordable rent is not affordable. So when you say affordable housing, what are you referring to here?
Those are just examples. So like,
No. I mean, what is the cutoff for affordable?
Well, the HUD definition is if you're spending.
That's what I'm asking.
that wasn't, those are just examples of community development. I think that was what we were putting on here, it was just to get like brainstorming.
But she is discussing this as a possible. This came up in our planning commission meeting where we revised the housing, where we talked about the housing policy. The HUD definition of affordable is you're spending more than 30% of your disposable income, you're not affordable.
Right.
So if you're not making a lot of money and you don't have affordable housing,
Right.
the percentage is.
Yeah, I did look up the bills of the developers that we have already pre-approved, their other developments, and they are a minimum for a 1-bedroom, $1,900 a month, plus deposits, plus this, plus that. They're not, that's why they stopped saying affordable and they changed it to attainable. So if we're going to increase affordable housing, you're looking at a much lower cost structure.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you cut into their profit margin when you limit their.
Exactly.
Exactly. What I need to ask you, when these discussions came up on the SUPs, did anyone say what portion of the housing would you consider for affordable?
I asked about it, but
And what did they say?
it's not what the purpose was.
They said we don't want to do it.
I'm truthful. Yeah. Your section.
All of McDonald Street is all Section 8. The Pine Ridge is mostly Section 8. The Epworth Manor is all Section 8. And then we have the houses that have been built in town by the Habitat, because we have quite a few of those too that are in town.
So there's how many units of affordable housing in
Oh, shoot, I don't know, several hundred.
so that's not bad for a town of this size, actually. I think.
The beauty of that
Yeah.
is that then HUD has grants and opportunities depending on the percentage of our population. They are getting government subsidized housing. We can apply for grants for community development spaces from.
Well, this is an interesting conundrum because I've had discussions with LCWA on the existing SUP number of units, and we're starting to approach to our water wastewater capacity. So we may need to consider redeveloping what's dormant or vacant. And it consider some form of incentive to. Work on housing. There's, you can have to do it. It's, that allow all investors, you know, little. Tax credits that are then cash redeemable for a developer that get sold on market tax credit market.
There are, the county park is directly across from the section. The first mayor. One that does. There is no park facility in it. And I don't know, I'm just saying, there's already a park in those areas. It's just that one is the only one that does not.
I don't know that housing in general is probably a goal that. There's already plenty of approvals already, but that was just, they're just examples. There's just like in all of the
Okay,
categories, they just gave potential examples of things that you can take.
well, we discussed it, and I think we appreciate it.
Yeah, that's why I saw it on there, that's why.
It brings across connected to the provides the housing section.
Yeah.
I think we agree that we have adequate housing. For
Yeah.
the time being.
Then there could be time community development. Okay.
That could finish the walk.
I just want to make sure, so that, which one?
That's called it, this is called active water.
You put in that.
Well, that needs to be done right now, right?
Putting that on a really super long list of short term here.
Well, a lot of.
Not saying, yeah.
Sure, it's a very good starting place, but they would tell us where to go.
Well, the thing is, last year, we really have had guidance to help us with line of this.
We have been keeping up.
Yeah, exactly.
We treading water.
Well, we're here now. We have some new faces. It's a new day, new year. We can charge for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got some new folks here. So, and some facts and some facts. So it's a good mix. It's a good
And
mix.
some of these do overlap, which is nice, like expansion of community events is an overlap. Community or park development.
Right.
And then connecting the community via infrastructure
Yeah.
and secure provisions.
I just put water needs. So, does the. On the top, it has public safety and cultural enrichment. Do we address the public safety aspect here, or is that going someplace else?
I've watched this closely. I consider it a very important aspect of my job. To provide, if you can't provide a safe community, particularly after Martin Peters are. You can provide a safe, nonviolent community where people feel free to walk outside, unmolested. Then the town manager's got no business for it, in my opinion. In my opinion, you have that here. You have what I consider smaller theft, which most communities will have some form of it, but no real violence. No real violence, as we see even in Charlottesville, is growing down there. So I enhance public safety. I think we talked about that with supporting the police force.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do argue strongly importance of community-based policing with our own police force.
Yes.
To be there, part of the community, proactive, in and out, counting candy at trick or treat, being in the neighborhood. Martin and I have talked about, once we get caught up, walking down to all these businesses and talking to them individually, about safety. Even things like graffiti. We can't allow, we had an episode of graffiti after that march in October. And we had to, Martin and I had to, make some calls to get the graffiti taken down. So, community-based policing in a small town. I mean, there's a reason why Andy Taylor's still popular 60 years. I mean, Andy Griffith is still a good show, but there's a reason for that. It can't be, in my opinion, contracted away.
All right, so also we have to talk about maintenance department,
But we've got a facility.
making sure that it keeps safe sidewalk.
Oh, yeah,
To support.
support maintenance,
Yeah,
support maintenance of, safe sidewalks and roads.
yes,
Okay.
Maybe that mid-range 2 to 5 is just thinking through how we grow the org structure to better support our public safety.
Okay.
You think?
sure.
We can't do it like
I mean, we can't just concentrate on the police department. We got
Yeah.
other departments in town that we have to make sure,
Right. How to grow,
it's cap up also.
how to grow organizational structure, maintenance.
Not as
Yeah,
dependent
we
on
got
contract.
them like we do that, I'll place you out. You know,
We'll get there eventually.
All right, support maintenance
That's a lot.
of sidewalks, streets.
Mhm.
That's
They have the equipment they need and everything that they need, we got.
okay. All right, that sounds good. All right, anything else on community develop?
Oh, let's see.
You said foster cultural enrichment. That's what the arts, I think you might want to put in something called support the arts center. We do a good.
I don't say support, I would say collaborate. Because if we're talking about events out. Direction I'm looking at, oh yeah, okay. And we're talking about active economic development of market and such, we want to collaborate with the arts center, they can help. Organize some events, or if we decide to hire a staff member, they could. Help them. Think coordinate events here and over there, and I mean, we can tie together.
It's totally don't do that now. Jeff does his own thing, do our own thing, our work, we got.
He's kind it's also. Could be a separate goal, just collaboration with the arts center.
Collaborate with the arts center. Okay. Well, there's going to be some, my opinion, fruitful conversations with the county. We've already begun that to collaborate. They have staff and resources in the tourism department and recreation department. So that we can organize that, and you're already making some.
There's better communication with the county, with the organization.
Improve that. What's
I don't even know that we need that in just our center, but just our community partners. Whether that be our students or our center.
do have community gathering places such as pubs, parks, all three, in his park. Okay. So. In improving collaboration with people. Okay. Take a break, I'd like to have a cup of coffee. And we're gonna press down
This thing. Okay, I started like I said, and I think I told Stuart the same thing. My Mustang does not do snow and ice. My Mustang does not do snow flooding.
I'm sure we'll drive in to get you. So that's why I have a Subaru. Have that knob and stay out.
What year is the Mustang?
14. Of course, I'm not making it. No, they're all good. They're not all over.
When I told you I was gonna help you, I said, but Roger will be picking me up. Cause what that car, we had to get that car towed out of a half an inch of snow. Cause the wheels just spun, and I'm like, come on,
Yeah, Mustangs are,
they're great cars, you can't get out of the back seat, and once you got one, you don't wanna get rid of it. And he does not want to get rid of it. Now.
Roger and I probably remember, you're probably too young, but you remember the old Mustang muscle cars?
Yeah.
They were something back in the 60s.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
You're too young.
I grew up with a dad who's a drag racer. I know about muscle. No car. Oh, yes. Like I literally lived.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all I'm something.
We're on, okay.
Yeah, drove from drag racing from schools.
I used to the
66
East Side
Mustang.
Speedway. That's where I spent my Easter Sundays. You didn't collect Easter eggs.
Do you know there's a BMW racing team garage here in Louisa?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're really cool guys. I mean,
Where is it?
you know where it's at? It's out, it's out across the street from where Heather that works with me, where her house is, right across the street where she's at. It's huge, 11 cars in there.
Operational excellence.
You want to do that now, or do you want to go to Sylvie exam?
So because that is really your wheelhouse anyway, but like, I think at least making sure we have some good,
Where
do
would
you
you
want to
like?
go to infrastructure or facilities?
Let's skip to infrastructure facilities, then we'll come back to operational. And then, wrap up with the budget. All right, let's move on, guys. We're already getting at 11. Infrastructure. The examples are improve roadways, modernize utilities, expand public transportation. What infrastructure we want to focus on in the near term and long term?
Saying building. The town loans.
2017. I will be out of facilities. Yes.
Single section for facilities. It's just,
Well, this is it.
this is different infrastructure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So are you, I'm thinking sidewalks.
I think. I'm sorry.
Apologize. No.
First short-term goal should be collaborate with VDOT on their Main Street study, talking with that new study, see what they found. It's the last one. And then if they've identified something that we get a jump start on. Start there, which they focus on is pretty much all of Main Street, the historic section, and then down, they stopped at EP last time. They did one, then COVID hit, the changeover happened. Conversations seemed to get put back when the whole pandemic thing happened, and people left and new people came in. Then they said they were going to do a new one. They're working on it. They didn't want to have any conversations. Seemed like the draft out was finished. They had results, so we just need to go back to them, figure out what they found, and then what improvements they see they can do. And those projects that could take 5-7 years for funding. Specific project like last time they did a study was the courthouse light, moving that, and then redirecting traffic to Rosewood and taking one of those two lights out, which gives you more volume. So we just need to see what came out of this most recent study.
Is that, do you remember the title of that study? It's just kind of,
I, one of more recent meetings I gave you, or gave, it circulated, there's a paper packet of the last study.
I think we did. The Louisa engineer study.
Yeah.
Is there anything if they're gonna do that on Rosewood about that light that's fixed all the time and you almost never get a light, turn right or left off the road?
That was discussed about, they're gonna be. they're-
Okay, so they'll review that part.
I don't know if I'm seeing this new study, I just, or I can you reach out to them about this, they said we're in the middle of it, we don't want to really talk about it at point till we get the results. So we should follow up with that, that's a. We're gonna roll that, gives us longer term goals out.
Okay.
And to what John alluded to earlier, we have 1,480 registered voters in the town of Louisa. Our population, they expect will either be at or exceed 500 during the next census, which brings you to the road financing, which will put that on us. So that is something that we have to, be aware of.
That's a long.
Yes.
Road maintenance. Once reached 3,500.
You know, my thing's gone crazy. I'm sorry, but, natural gas is in this town.
And then, half the town, yeah,
It would be a big help to get it in town. People are reading about electricity prices going up. And, to afford it, and natural gas doesn't go up that much. So if we could get natural gas through town, it would help a lot of people, I think. It's something to look at, maybe. I mean, it's two Harleys, I think it is. And
It's,
Walgreens is the location point I use. They get a ton of, Walgreens it stops.
Yeah.
I share what it is on the other side.
Hardee's is on the other side.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it is over. Harleys and us have, yeah. CVS. But, it would be an interesting thing to talk to the natural gas company. And, see if they would be in. I know they wanted to come downtown and the town cut them off at that location.
At the base of the Walgreens.
Yeah. Because they wouldn't go over to Tanner at the time.
Well, Tanyard is, it's funny because I had 2 phone calls last week from the natural gas companies trying to get me to change to their company. And I'm like, if I had gas, I'd be happy to talk to you. So somebody thinks we have gas.
Yeah.
Because I never had those calls until this week. It's when you bring that up. But we have utility right of ways. So that really isn't an issue. We have utility right of ways of change.
But,
What you will not find people wanting is putting sidewalks, because the county approached us to do it. And they would take 10 feet of the front yard and then the sidewalk goes in and then they have an easement. So they're like, absolutely not. So that is a problem there, but you don't ever hear Tanger people complaining about sidewalks. That's why. That is why.
what I'm saying is, you got a lot of people that do have propane.
We have a lot of
A
propane.
lot of propane
Mhm.
generators and we had natural gas here. If power went out, they got heat. So,
Well, that's interesting that the natural gas line is right here on.
Yeah, that's right through.
every time I go by, I look at it more. Be nice to have.
That is part of the draw for the industrial development, because we have the gas pipeline.
That's a major asset.
Yes,
And I'm in the logistics, so I'm gonna lean into people. How do we not have overhead power, like overhead lines in the town, like down Main Street, like that from an infrastructure standpoint, that is
How do we underground the overhead lines?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that even a possibility?
no, because this project that we just approved,
Well, there's that, but when they did the downtown improvement, I think they wanted to do it, but the meeting made them pay this extra $1 million.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's only power lines that didn't give the Comcast, as you see, take West Street, for example, because it drives me pretty nuts.
Yeah, now we're gonna.
Because you have power lines at one side, and then Comcast is legacy. And they just bounce between holes everywhere, and it says power line, but Comcast going behind the church, and in front of the church, they all kind of meet stack on West Street, you know.
Yeah.
So you have poles on both sides, so even if you underground the power lines, you still have Comcast to deal with, and you have to pay them to do it too. Yeah, they're not going to do it at the same time, it's going to be a routine nightmare.
So yes, it would be both. Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah.
There should be a long-term goal.
that's what I'm
I think
thinking.
it should be, right now, I think it's kind of assuming that as time goes on, there'll be more grants for underground power lines and you get bigger areas. I mean, I don't have a good cost-effective way with our town's budget to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's been kind of bugging me. I was hoping that, you know, maybe West Street with the water line, or nothing but the water line, it do the water and the sidewalk, and then try to talk about underground power line, but we didn't help anything.
Yeah.
Because they had to go across the road, there's a whole nightmare, and it cost 3 times as much money. So it ended up being just a water line, but I've never come across a good solution that's effective for a town of all sizes for power lines, even though I get it with that.
it's highly expensive.
Yeah, should still be a long-term goal. I do, it should be on the
So, talking about going back in the alleys, like going underground with it.
yeah, we have to be right away.
Yeah, you have to have the right of ways.
But you need that there.
They still have to like.
Yeah.
Less likely to losing power.
Oh, yeah.
Coming through the Dublin, there's just so many benefits to it.
What's static, so.
But you still are,
You're still losing power.
right, because of
Yeah,
the upside.
Yeah,
Once you get a statics.
Mhm.
yeah, you get that. I would never say you lose power less because I think, oh, more times than not, it's an outside issue versus a town issue. I think on my street, it's happened, one transformer will do, and one, street on, well, was actually the line street. But when that line breaks by my house, it's a line out too, that's 8-10 miles out of town.
Yeah, well, last time we lost power, I'm underground. We lost power right.
Yeah.
Right. over.
We lost power.
Yeah, no, you what?
Yeah, we're underground, we lose the power.
Yeah,
Well, that's because somewhere
It's
that,
up to me.
Like,
It's up to me.
Christian said, lost what, 97% of people in the county lost power.
It doesn't matter if you have underground lines, if the entire grid is not underground.
you can't say we're doing this because we all want this power. You have to just say we're doing for aesthetics.
it's exactly,
That's when the $1 million for aesthetics is like.
That's why we have a table.
it's,
But I think looking into that, will be after the town and the people in the town. You know, with price of liquor going up and gas stands fairly steady, which is good.
I mean, we could talk to the company, but when my understanding of having been here for over 4 decades, was that nobody wanted to pay for making the town connections. Cause the pipeline's there, but you gotta have the connections coming out. There are no connections coming off. So we have to pay those connection lines, and then when you get to the property line, it's up to the individual, kind of like water and sewer now.
I don't know how I feel about gas. I mean, we could definitely experience.
Somebody talk.
I just say if gas line came by my house, with the technology of the heat pumps now, I don't know if I go full.
I think I'm looking at people in generators can't run the heat pumps. A lot of them don't have the size for it, and
Yeah, I think that's just my one sole opinion that if I would do it. So I'm struggling to figure out the economics in my head on the gas lines at this time.
if it would cost it, it would be worth, but if they would do it for their benefit, then it'd be a different story.
But I guess we could, it's no harm in hurt asking if it's a possibility to consider residential hookup, residential and business.
I think it's an excellent law. And I will say,
But that industrial is a definite.
and the industrial park has it. It's all,
Mhm.
to have an industrial park, by the way, this is why I talked about this earlier, that has a railroad access. That's all. That's that's a excellent opportunity.
Not sure you have. The entire area around the town of Louisa is a designated business growth area for this county. Everybody gets advantage of it in the county except for us. All coming around that, this is where the county is focusing that growth occurring.
It's one.
Yes.
I just, also, if you don't need to take on that 55 acres. Just sending acres and pay, give them a better tax base.
The rezoning, I suggest not just consideration of a technology overlay district, but also revising the, zone.
And the other problem is the stormwater. We've had a drought for 3 years. Jim Rydell and I were talking about this yesterday. He said, well, I'm sure you guys have seen my here. I know it's just the way we haven't had that much rainfall. So it will come back. So we're gonna have to address how we're handling that because we haven't really done anything.
Well, stormwater infrastructure, and I did outline in the strategic needs assessment. We do, in this day and age, need to get into the FEMA flood management program. That,
I still would have to do anything.
sure,
Yeah.
but, that's a real long range thing. Did you have a thought?
I just had a short range goal, better internet here. I feel like that's an infrastructure here that's involved. We got.
And now, my floor seems to be, that's not that slow out.
So maybe you just need boosters. They have boosters. You plug it into the wall and boost the signal in the different areas of the building. I haven't got my house.
Yeah, set up for it.
So. Talk about the age of the equipment. Major office equipment. That may be, I mean, I thought you were going back to, but if you haven't tried boosters or,
I know for a fact that her, or the, IT consultant said it wasn't.
just looking for it, probably not.
Did you know?
Find a new equipment.
Okay, yeah, not something. I was just curious. Okay, so that's IT.
Yeah,
Natural gas extension, stops at Walgreens, consider, extension. Look into road maintenance, as once we hit 3,500. The population projections coming out of the data center that I'm hearing do indicate within the next 15 years, we will expand population. So that has to be a law.
So, one of the examples, it was like, again, this is just what the system just kind of gives some like ideas to think through. What are thoughts on public transportation? Like, I know Orange, the town of Orange has, what do they call it? The hoot toot or hoot, like a little trolley. I don't think that that's a short term, but I'm also trying to think through.
We still have John, don't we, paper John?
Well, okay, let's talk about public transportation.
In town or?
Yes, because I just know that we have a lot, as a mother of teenagers, a lot of children, a lot of young adults are not getting their driver's license or like it's a weird.
You're kidding. They just don't want to drive.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
They just don't want to drive.
They don't want to drive. 100%. They do not want to drive.
How do they get?
Parents, I spend literally 90% of my life in a car. I mean, true story, like it's just a thing, like less and less children are getting licensed.
Why?
Well, I heard one child say that she was scared of the responsibility.
Yeah, a lot of them are scared to drive or it's a thing. It's a thing. And so when we think about one like walkability, that helps increase their employment opportunities because right now they have to have somewhere where they can walk to work. But if we did have some sort, and I don't think that's a short-term goal because we don't have the, but is that something for the future to look at? Like
Sure.
a little like, I feel like, what is it called in the town of Orange?
I don't.
But town of Orange is,
But yeah, the trolley thing.
they have a population of well over 20 million. My question is, not that that's what you're saying, my question is, how many will we have the utilization? And do they charge for that?
I don't know. I was just asking.
Oh, yeah, I have no
have
idea.
No idea.
I just found the exploration of public transport. I really don't have any opinions, ideas, knowledge on it at all.
I think we need to know, is there a need for it? Would it be utilized? But I don't.
What do you see in your community? For the whole community over there, the need for
When I look at Ubers and that kind of stuff, because I've seen
it?
them.
You don't have them on your okay.
I haven't seen one myself.
I would suggest that one solution to traffic volume and congestion is public transit.
Yeah.
So I do think this is a clear yes as a long-term goal to offer alternative.
Or is that leveraging John in a way that there's dedicated pickup space, like times and locations so that the community knows where, like I also think about the people at Epworth, them being able to get to
Yeah, they
the
use,
grocery store.
they do use John.
Citizens.
No, it's for everybody. It's for everybody.
I think it's an excellent.
But what you do have to do is if we do that, we have to pay. So we have to have a budget line item for John because the county pays for those and then the person pays. Because the rides are not free. So we could reach out to John and John would probably be happy to do it, but we will have a charge associated with that.
It's a program increase to the town, but there's also agencies, nonprofits, I've dealt with this who do that, who set that up, and they get federal subsidies.
Yeah, John is a nonprofit, but
John, tell me what's John.
that's the Jefferson area, it's the transportation, it's public transportation. It comes out here to the county and it takes you to your doctor's appointments in Charlottesville, Richmond, they take you to Food Lion. You just call them.
That's fantastic.
It's always been here. The number it's probably on the county website. I don't know if we have it on the town website. They go throughout the county.
They come down West Street anyway.
Yeah, they go to Epworth Manor, they go all over the place.
Oh, John.
There is no JAUNT. There is no income requirement. There is no age requirement.
John, will they pick, like, for child and take them to school?
Yeah. But they have to have that route and it's on their time because they're providing service to the whole county. That's why I'm saying if we want specific points in town, we're gonna have to pay for it.
I think Steve right now on your exploration of public transit, so I think there's the idea what we can explore multiple options to make sure one is viable, two, it's cost effective, we want to go that route. And
But we could put John, like he said, we could put John on our town website as a link
Sure.
and just everybody knows.
It also town charter.
Like Sean.
And additionally, we are something of a bedroom, Charlottesville, Richmond, and Fredericksburg. So if we, the more we can set up alternative ride share programs, the more traffic you get off the road. And also, if you're going to add an advantage to the community, if we could set up shuttles.
We know they talk about now what's happening there. Using the crossing parking lot until we put those were rideshare people. Until we put 2 hours or whatever parking limit on it, then that took that way. So we actually did have that because I had somebody reach out to me and say, "Oh, now for parcels," and I'm like, "Well, that's a good question. Because now we have 2 out of these short-term signs."
Fredericksburg had, big parking lot where, big vans,
I think they have
go to DC, technically, works for grand.
Those crossroads as a ration.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlottesville, Richmond.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I mean. That's one traffic just. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a nice little, I think that you can tell. Anything else for, oh, really, okay, here. You'll find out.
The only problem we have with the electrical grid is 3 separate companies. So I will lose power, my neighbor across the street will not lose power, and then the guy around the corner will still have power until that company loses power. We are very segregated in weird ways. So that's why Hardee's will have power, but McDonald's won't, because we have CEBC and we have REC and we have Dominion. No, I'm from the hand. Yeah.
Minions was, racist, so.
And when I was on South Street, we had CBEC at the bottom after.
On Main Street, I would recommend.
So, yeah, so we just have to be aware when somebody says there's no power, that there are 3 separate power companies that we're dealing with, which also comes into play with underground lines. Yeah.
But there's no shortage of the electrical, there's no.
No, there are no places that are not powered.
And just the electrics go out and. Like so.
It's
mid
just
level
spotty. It looks spotty. It's weird because it's different power company.
Okay, so when I was in Pennsylvania County, they had this grid map by Danville Utilities that whenever a storm blew in, you could see exactly what areas went out. They have something like that.
it's kind of vague. It kind of looks like a block shot of the map. It's not very, it doesn't look very accurate to me, but maybe it is accurate.
Is it, yeah, go ahead.
The last big outage we had, and I think it's, and we'll see again in about 12 hours. But the big issue, I think they replaced the last big storm was this transformer right on West Street. So that would either throw all of Main Street out or it'd throw West Street out. Only this Main Street, especially with half power. That was an issue for a while and they eventually upside the transformer. That's the big ones.
And I think all our other week-long ones were all external. They were all external.
Yeah, there was more power lines just down trees and such.
Well, is the system resilient or does the whiff of a wind knock it out?
It's the upstream issue. In town, we're fine. It's the upstream issue.
So it takes a big storm is it robust? Does it take a big storm to knock it down?
No. We've had cars taken down, running into a pole. It's not necessarily weather. It's just that we only have so many main roads. And when somebody hits a utility pole, I personally took out town service on the whole New Year's a holiday during an ice storm because got called into the power station and 3 deer helped me take out all the power.
Oh, so you're the one.
I was solely responsible.
Chief Knockman. Chief
Yes.
Knockman.
I think the last one, they put a loop in, I think, in case power went out from this end, they could bring it in from the other end.
I'm not so sure.
There's no loop, but it always back. Power lines always back.
Guys, we got.
But yeah, that's a different issue. But
Anything else on this?
inside town, I don't think there's anything we can do.
Okay, there's an internet
That's
system.
what I was just getting they don't maintain this lines here very well at all. But it's been
No, mine
you
are
can,
going.
if you go down my street with a big truck, you're taking the line down. And I see it in different places.
The overhead line?
Xfinity has no plans to put fiber into the town of Louisa.
But they're not maintaining what's in.
I think the market's gonna change that one.
Well, I asked about, that's why I called her.
Right down here, yeah.
They're going to places that have internet first.
Yeah,
There's will be one license be hooked up, but that market, that's why Comcast isn't investing, is because they know that they're gonna have
they're
that.
great.
Also, I think they can compete with Comcast.
And I
So, yeah.
called Firefly because they laid cable in front of my house. And I said, so I can hook up now. And they said, no. Because you're a Comcast,
Yeah.
you have Comcast. We can only serve those that don't have existing cable capability. So you are not gonna be so I can't get it at all, even though the wire goes right through my yard.
Well, what can government do to facilitate a robust, resilient infrastructure of?
It would be nice to get fiber in the town of Louisa. But
Do you have any pull?
we have no pull, exactly.
Let me ask you this. Is there any business that is precluded from opening because of inadequate cable infrastructure?
Not now.
Is there any home that's precluded from opening because it has inadequate cable?
No, they can use Comcast.
I don't think there's anything we do from a regulation standpoint, but I do think there's like poking, you know what I mean? You poke the hive. When I moved into countryside, we did not have Comcast.
They didn't put underground cable in you guys.
So they had it in there. The infrastructure was there, but the neighborhood was not connected. So I actually had one on my house. There were like satellites and we had to use, yes, there was no internet in countryside at all. And it took us just calling over and over and over and over and over again and saying, dude, you have like 150 houses in this neighborhood, and then Comcast came.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's economy of scale. If you
Yeah.
don't see a market, then.
Yeah, so I don't remember what it was. It was like satellite internet.
I think the county uses ARPA money to expand cable throughout the county.
That was what Firefly did say. Because they are federally funded and they had grants from the county, they were limited to only provide what was in their contract, and their contract was only for unserved customers.
I see. Okay, let's move on. If we have adequate, because I've heard communities that say businesses can't start because they don't have access.
That is not true.
And if that was the case, you would say that.
One other thing to think about in short term, just, I know you talked about the vacant buildings that we have here. There are different tax ordinances and strategies that there's been that we could even look at.
But one of our code changes, which has not come before the council, is to address what you just said. It is it gives the council authority to address the derelict buildings. That's in the code.
So, I'm sorry, can you explain that? That's enough.
So there are additional fees that can be implemented onto buildings that are identified as derelict. Now, gotta get the definition, there's a lot of code that addresses it,
So code enforcement of derelict building.
but we gotta get the code first.
But the goal would be code enforcement of derelict.
We take, like, with that goal of look at our infrastructure. Or enforcing that code, then maybe we would have us. We can run down.
The judge blight, it is blight. Yeah. It is, the revised code does have that. It just has to come before council for approval.
Well,
Yeah, because under Virginia law 58.1.3221.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we took it straight from the state code.
well, there's an opportunity to work with the county because they have building inspectors to enforce, state building code. We don't have staff, but we could partner with them on that. All right, we got to move along. folks.
Add one more thing, and add it just continued water and sewer infrastructure.
Sorry,
For the continued water and sewer infrastructure improvements.
But we didn't have that on.
We haven't put that, we haven't talked about it. I know we're doing it now. We had to focus on it, but I want to.
Yeah, it needs to be like more preventative instead of
all
reactive.
right, well, I'm trying to move us along, but let's slow down for a second. Let's slow down for a second. In the world of infrastructure, because we've been focused on water, so we know that's almost a low hanging fruit. But you're correct. Continue building a robust water sewer system. We talked about this as a vision statement. Continue building a robust water sewer system that is modern. We talked about inefficient, modern and efficient.
I don't put that next to sewer, you have you inflow, making your inflow, you can have businesses.
What size of the pipe needs to accommodate that growth?
The question is, we're getting closer to our goal on drawing water out of the reservoir. Or usage, which 400,000.
No, just that's sewer.
Doesn't that affect our usage on water also? Okay, the contract, when we get it done, we'll have that.
We are only limited by sewer on the water.
I think your concern is what we discussed, and we might as well restate it here. To ensure adequate provision of water and sewer, because if I was somewhat astounded to learn that the reservoir is only rain fed.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not spring fed.
It's not.
So that in itself subjects it to drought.
Mhm.
And that's
And we have had water restrictions.
correct. So it's worth restating again, the
Supply.
adequate supply.
We have had water restrictions, but not because of the reservoir, because the dock is proper, it's somewhere in the same area.
Area.
We get provision, so it wasn't because the reservoir was low, it's because docks.
Well, done across as well,
Or something, yeah.
but because
We haven't had a data center hooked up yet.
Does the well at Zion Crossroad feed our water supply?
No.
No,
Well, they do
no.
one, for one section of the county, he's got to do that.
so it's a little misleading because it feels like we're in it, but it's really because of Zion's Crossroads, but they're about to connect to James River.
They've been trying to 23 years.
We got blasted with the whole water limitation, deal right after the whole data center thing, people came to talk about it, but there's nothing we can do as the water authority, as a service area has to do a blanket effect, so.
Right.
It looks bad, but it's, again, it's not hooked up yet. They say we have it done.
I think
We have to make sure we're good.
as part of this goal, an objective would be to determine what studies were done as to the adequate provision of water with the what's called the physical impact of the data centers on adequate provision of water should have been done prior to the acceptance of the data center.
They said they did a study. They said they currently taught the study when I asked the planning commission.
Was not a disclosure.
And, but I think we could go ahead and ask the numbers again. And just show Peter.
Do you think that's average?
I'm just making faces over here.
Well, I mean, this is a sensitive subject, I don't know, but the truth is, we need to know the data for the impact of the data centers on water supply. We've got to determine it. Okay.
That we have a large capacity water storage tank, that would help.
No. Well, so
You don't want to have too large.
you don't want to sit around and our water on lines is, it's not. It's not like we receive the water to the tank and use it all the day.
So it's just.
All the time. Yeah, I mean, that's a 6 inch line on West Street. The house is not using a lot of that water.
So a water tank not help us with, if we have a water restriction for the reservoir.
It would,
Well, it may be in our contract, we should do something about how much we can use.
Well, they've already guaranteed, I mean, you can only, they're guaranteed their water supply.
What about, we can't have our.
we should just make it a goal to go back to the utility contracts, just
Yeah.
work that out there with exit. Yeah,
I'm just saying,
Then,
know how much water we could use them before we have to think about alternative water.
part of it is, don't forget, if we want a BOD, we're gonna have, and we want these other industrial areas, we need to make sure that water supply is built in so that we can supply these farms that want to come in here.
Apart from that, I just, as a duty to our citizens, we let's put it in. Goal, what adequate vision of water. And we've got to, and this overlaps community development and infrastructure. I'm gonna say it again, but that's terrible. All right, anything else on that? You're correct, we're engaged right now. Developing a robust water sewer system.
What percentage are we willing to do?
I mean, everything is waiting, is great. A lot of it's back to the flushing. Which is abolished, I think was a scheduled block. So a lot of that. Doing that one item, it's complete a lot of, or complete a lot of other. Items that are kind of waiting for calibration.
Your new two facilities. I guess my biggest issue right now is the police department and the maintenance of buildings. And that whole location right there. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and is it worth fixing? Or is it worth just letting it go?
If you think that goes and sells a lot of which I think it's been called the zone for, some land. Land is always,
Why wouldn't you sell?
as the town expands, we might directly need the land again, and it's centrally in town. I think that's an asset that we need to realize, maybe not now, later down the road.
Only thing I'm thinking about, location is. Police departments have trouble getting in and out, maintenance departments have trouble getting in and out. And it's gonna continue that way, it seems like, for a long time. And, we could move it over here and have better entrance and exit and so forth.
I don't rule that out. We can move things around, but I think the land as a whole is an asset that we don't have much basis in.
Yeah.
That we should just sell it to funds, stuff.
Moving it over here and redoing it.
Okay, so this is called, we need a space needs analysis. Which means over the next 5 to 10 years, what space do we need for staff? Police, public works. And how many square feet do we need and what buildings will supply that need?
Yeah, I'm not
Also,
opposed.
what's wrong with the building? That
was what I was gonna say. I didn't have a problem with revitalizing what we have, but the cost may weigh what the benefit would be from moving it to another location. And we would have to have, like he said, we would also have to have an alternate egress, either a road out the back or something to get them out so that they can respond.
I can go out there like.
Well, as part of the space needs analysis, then we would do an analysis of building condition.
Right.
Cost benefit.
Cost benefit.
Cost.
Because if we decide to relocate, we can't leave that sitting like it is on Main Street. We're talking about revitalists and we're gonna be one of the biggest eyesores there. No.
I think you're a little far ahead of that. Right now, we need an adequate police station.
Yes.
And it costs a tremendous amount of funds to
Yeah.
downgrade that and move it. So we need to look holistically at all of our space needs throughout the town and then determine who goes where.
Now that may be in the long term, that may be a good location for a community place.
Like a Y or something.
Yeah.
Then again, the volume of traffic there is prohibitive. The chief right now is having difficulty getting out on.
Well, I know, that's why I said they gotta go down. That's not long term. They need to go down.
Well, one other space is we have as a capital project the demolition of the old WWTP, which the meeting to get up with Thrasher. He's got a plan to do that. Which is a schedule meeting for that. We need another water sewer committee. We need one quickly back on the as soon as you guys can get together, we need to have a meeting soon.
Yeah, we'll switch. So I was waiting for Tuesday's meeting to finish up all the committees before we move into that one.
Just let us know, but we need to
We'll do that.
get available whenever. You guys get together and propose some dates.
Okay.
All right, so space needs analysis, cost benefit analysis, building condition.
In the meantime, like you were saying, they need to move.
We need to analyze the condition of the building.
I don't mean that part. I mean, if they can't get out to respond to an emergency call.
But they can, it's just difficult. It's not only difficult for them. Fire EMS has that to say.
Yeah.
There has to be
It's a bigger issue.
I wonder, because there's, like, the railroad enforcement and so forth, they have to ease 40 feet from the center of the tracks, right?
That's right.
Did they ever consider having an access road that comes off of Fredericksburg that goes through their easement that could connect right to?
interesting you could talk to
They know a problem on it because
them. And they are,
already there or has been there.
that's us. And they love the right of way. They don't want to give any right of way. Yeah. It's like-
Okay, I have a question real quick. If you consider like at that intersection right there, it shoots a roundabout versus a stoplight.
When you mentioned that, yes, well, we back to when we went to infrastructure, the VDOT, the last one they had,
Right.
they had, talking about the data proposed, where we want to use, roundabouts at, pretty much every line. It's what they talk about, it, space always concerned, you obviously have to go out to wide to go property.
Yeah.
Require right away, and that's something that they're the whole roundabouts. Can't really stop like trying to keep traffic flowing.
Right.
Roundabouts were not popular when they tried to fix the intersection,
Yeah.
but now they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everybody's against it, so yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, so much fun.
Yeah, so it's being proposed, and that's why I want to meet with VDOT, where this one came out to be, because that is certainly something that they have debated, because they don't like kind of stoplights, so they can never get them all synced up very well.
Right.
Two stoplights cost them a good amount of money every year versus the roundabout, which is pretty much maintenance free, and they clear the grass, so they don't make sure it's paved.
Yeah,
So they're all for that. That's what that needs to come out of that meeting.
I mean, yeah, I think just like one thing, because I live, like, come out right there. So I'm at that light every, 4 times a day.
Mm.
Morning times, I've like literally seen cops sit there and watch people almost cause wrecks by traffic violations and police just sit there and look out.
Yeah,
Like,
I have witnessed the same thing.
There's like, and I confronted a police officer and she sometimes I was like, hey, you just watched that wreck up there, didn't you? Oh no. I was like, are you dead? I mean,
Well, watching the cars go on the other side of those posts in the wrong direction.
Yes, yeah.
Because they're tired of waiting in line. I've seen that, and I'm coming the other way, and there's cars coming up that.
I think if, you know, it was.
Oh, that would be
a
other-
lot of traffic, if we had one down Lefferts line and one at Sheets. Because all that traffic would continuously flow that, like you said, size wise, you have to be size wise, and you have to watch them, knucklehead tractor and trailer drivers.
Like we're finding that out.
But yeah, but, you know, that could be a huge thing for our traffic.
Yeah, and that's something that we can't, one, we have no control on roads right like that right now.
Right.
We can fund that project, but that's also something that. That's what's a short-term goal. We got through that plan with them, and then we have to apply for the funding through them, which then takes a long time. So what we have to start it now.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And yet we need to push. We got now, because we fairly soon, we're gonna take over the maintenance and everything. We'd like to have that done before.
Or we can go to maintenance, we don't think of capital projects like that. But I don't know. Okay, we're gonna avoid anything that.
All right, so right now we got improve the maintenance of police, let's add public works bill. Two, space needs analysis of what space needs we have going to the future.
Yeah.
3, cost benefit analysis of buildings, addition,
There,
and what else?
I just wanted to say in reference to what Ashley requested, I know we lease space here to the art center. Why can't we take some of these rooms back and turn them into youth meeting rooms? This is our building. We have our share.
This part I could probably work out on.
Take away the classroom opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, to those two, I think there's two
But it
right
would
there.
be opportunities to all these kids that she's talking about. I'm saying use it for, instead of renting it out to the art center for events that people have to pay for to attend, why can't we use them to have spaces for what she's talking about? Kids that are in town,
I think that's part of our space needs analysis.
Yeah. but that's one thing I want us to consider, because if we're talking about community space, we haven't done anything yet for the community can use.
Let's get back to. The ad listed.
And some facilities, right?
You're correct.
Okay.
Build new community spaces.
Or utilize what we have in a different manner. It's like we have this building, let's use it.
Also. Sure. We can then. Oh,
Continue,
I think we put that. I was was that wrong? I pulled that all up with the water and sewer.
that's what I'll do, yeah.
infrastructure.
Yes, it's still, it's. We just want. Just.
Then relocation. Did I cover everything?
I think so, just because we really don't have a great idea of the best way to utilize our space. You just need a.
Yeah.
Bird's eye view, step out, step back, take a overview, see what we want, how we want to proceed, before we make any. Stuff like that.
We got going over here that's. Some of it productive for us, but. 3/4 of it is.
I'm talking about that.
We're doing. It's, and we got a few wells sitting here that aren't productive. We might want to check and see if they're productive, stuff like that.
Do we own the softball field and the baseball field? You know, because that's when we need,
Let's call it, upgrade parties.
yeah, that's what I'm in facilities here. That one we would repair. So if we own it, then that's our bill.
It does look as though it's been in current the steps look like they put it in the system.
Oh, sure.
Well, my kids went to school here. He went to school here.
The same stuff.
Yeah.
No, I went for PKA, so. Alright, so upgrade, parks.
I mean, if people are using it and somebody breaks their neck, we're liable. Because we're the ones that are letting the safety hazard go on.
I agree, but the situation in the condition can be allowed to do it. If it, use the whole stairways, I've walked down them at night, people soccer ball. They're all, they need to be,
So that's the only other space on.
okay, let's move on. Anything else? Let's move on to the budget, and then we'll wrap up. Operate. This budget sheds light on the operation. Let's talk about the budget. Okay, we've kicked off the budget year, in my opinion, with today's meeting. Because the things we talk about today will be the goals we set to achieve with the budget. That makes sense. So let's talk about budget goals and then CIP, many of which we've already discussed. Okay, so goal one.
Creation of a CIP.
You ready for that?
I think replacing the IT equipment here is a priority for town staff.
We call it upgrade,
Upgrade.
IT equipment.
We have a resident expert sitting over there. She can go just say, that is IT staff. No. No.
It all three back on, but only on it. I don't even know if I would just limit it to IT, but I would just say all of their software, like your software.
Yeah, that's IT, that's part of it.
You know, like our treasury system
Yeah.
of BI, like
We need
The
to,
BAI system is an antiquated
Yeah. we
system
need to upgrade that.
that
Since
needs,
we said that before, it just never got done because it was so expensive.
This is where the wants of the council, like we have a budget, so it's, we talk about it all, and then we whittle it down to what we.
Right, yeah, because I know we discussed, and it was always a cost.
this,
so we need to do a need, want, hope. What do we need?
Safety.
We should, what ideas we have, we'll get it all on paper, then.
that's the only way. We need to determine how to, what's called in this business, migrate from one IT system to another.
Right.
What are the costs? It's not just the cost of the technology, it's the cost of the support and the staff time, train everybody. It's a major overhaul, although it's easier for a smaller organization to move faster.
Yeah.
But
Would be nice
Yeah.
if we had used the same software as the county, but when I talked to that company, that I don't know if they have a reduced charge for localities of our size.
how about we talk to the county and see if we can piggyback off them there?
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Maybe civic class or something. Civic.
Switch to
If they go by, the charge, it's not based by municipality size, so the county can afford it. If we afford it, it's too expensive.
Talk about the budget one sec.
Sure, it's good.
Deputy town.
I think we got an email here not long ago about, I asked a question in the meeting Tuesday night about why. So it was one price when you put it out first time, so it then it was another price when. Out here. Of the final billing. And it was said that,
Okay, sorry, it took me a minute to read what you talked about. Okay.
anyway, it was said that Liz had okay some upgrade or something
The utility standards.
that I've been here a year, didn't even know about.
As on 24.
Yeah,
And I not really any information, just seen the price go, I couldn't answer that either. I do remember we talked about that back in 24.
But you didn't even know that's what that was for that night.
Not that night, there was just a number of changes, like I could do a couple of things.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we need to make sure that there's no surprises.
Like we have an inventory of what our obligations are.
Yeah, yeah. Like that night was a surprise to me anyway, that there was a $15,000.
Yeah, I looked at the
difference.
email string and that email went out in 23. It went out September
Did you get an answer to that? I found.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you did. That's why I knew. That's the only way I found out it went out September 23.
It was a 50-50 agreement on the, facilities manual.
Which,
We talked about in 24 and
yeah, I mean,
I didn't want.
and sure Danny didn't either.
So the concern he's saying, no, I knew nothing about it. The concern he's saying is, what else is there that we don't know that we don't know? And we don't know. How do we know how we're even gonna find out? We don't know.
Figure CIPs without knowing exactly what we've got that we owe for.
So normally it doesn't take that long for the water authority to build that also the loan not thought it was gonna take. Normally like SCADA, the most recent ones I think SCADA upgrades, only a pump or two, screen replacement for the filters or a new screw.
Yeah.
When we know about them, they take a couple months and they're
But
in.
is there something in another category that's gonna come up?
We need to talk, you should go to Pam and say, what are you anticipating?
No, I'm saying in another cap, not just.
He's not talking about,
Other,
he means
other,
overall.
All I can do is as issues come to light, bring them to you, but the benefit of this meeting is to bring to light your concerns so we can address them at the budget.
yeah,
What I'm proposing with this budget, with the calendar, is it's a very open meeting like this, where we talk about the needs, we put them in the budget. We all aware of all the projects and all the needs between now and May. Then we adopt the budget and then you say, Stuart, go make it happen. So this is an opportunity to bring to light all these things that, I mean, I'm still new. I've been here 3.5 months. So
you been here now?
what do they say? What do they say? Comment after 15 minutes of comment, you're a better.
Yeah.
Not to degrade or something. But anyway, so the what I'm trying to offer this year is a crude method is all these issues come here when we're discussing openly. They get placed in the budget. We adopt the budget, so we're all clear, and it's not out in some individual committee. Because we're not meeting.
Yeah, thank
So,
Oh, this was the thing. Yes, okay. And I don't know if it's gonna be possible to do it to you, but I'll keep it on the schedule. There's one under pump at the United Bank, which in theory is ours. We discovered, well, not discovered that, but it was reiterated last year in the budget that is getting aged. It's nearing its end of service life. It's probably gonna be like $8,000 item. You get that?
No,
well,
Anthony, you got it.
We haven't yet.
I thought you said, I thought,
We check that one. Oh, but the other thing is, we have two pumps down at the pump station on Ellisville. The other was also getting end of life. It would be nice to have at least budget for one. And we just pick the worst one and keep that one parts and have it available.
so this falls under creation of the CIP.
Yes, but it does.
But you can go ahead and
watch those two, because I know those two are
So critical,
almost not a huge expense. The other one will be a huge expense.
the grinder pump and the Ellisville pump station.
also we need to pick up that electrical panel is ready to fall. It is all rusted out.
Some of that was in this year's budget. For the pump station, will leave the door in there. Some upgrades, yeah, I will have to put one in this year for that as well, but again, we did, that's a separate public works. About that.
But fixing the darn front door, be in this category,
Which from
that one.
the sidewall,
Yes, the town hall. And
Actually, that's our front door.
that is our door.
What is broken?
People break in through it all the time. I asked Gladys how many times she's walked in here and there's been somebody in the building.
The key on here,
That's why that white space is on the floor. That's where they break in.
it's missing.
Right down here.
You can
All
stick
right,
something.
well, that, okay, so this falls under creation of the CIP, town hall doors. and so
Right.
on. Now, I'm going to send out a form, CIP form. Staff will fill it out. Probably it's better if I'll send you the form, but probably let me fill it out, or
And I don't know if this comes under this, but this is trash contract year. So we need competitive bidding and a look at putting a common recycling center out here so that the town residents can drop their recycling off.
Well, I know Mineral did has a grant for that, their thing out there, you know, and it pays for
Then
that.
another thing to look at is like, businesses get charged for trash pickup.
Yeah, which is odd.
Yeah, I mean, cause it's in my water bill as a resident in the town, but I have a water bill that's the same for my office building, but then I have to pay for trash pickup too. The extra $34 per
yeah.
Every
a
quarter,
quarter.
it's
Yeah.
a quarter.
So I don't understand why my business has to pay for it, but my home doesn't. The water bill is the same.
It's some type of commercial, is what I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You paying taxes, different taxes.
So let's call this,
I'm paying for trash.
The trash refuge, because you don't like the word trash. So the refuge contract, open bid process, recycling center instead of the home pickups, which will reduce the cost of the refuge and wire the business. I agree. I never understood why they have to pay for trash pickup. And all they have is can. It's not like they have, big containers.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, the businesses, they.
I think some of them do have dumpster, so the one,
Yeah,
What,
because like, we don't pay for it because they pay it as part of the tax
Yeah.
that we pay, and so the business owners are like, but I pay taxes too.
so
So
the
I'm
track,
paying taxes and paying for this, and
it is, I know it's a tiered system, so it's like 1 through 3 cans for businesses is X amount. 3 through 6 is another amount, then there are the dumpsters and that is a different amount. So
Yeah, we may have a set amount, different categories of dumpsters.
So if you go to one,
so let me be clear, our solid waste service is only for residents?
No,
It's the same company.
Same
it's not
company.
a strong for everyone. I think that the residences don't pay me,
So they pay taxes?
because we pay taxes. Businesses do pay, but business owners will say, but I also pay taxes.
I paid taxes on my building.
our 600 and
It's the same truck, because next to my building is a house. The same truck comes with their taxes and stuff.
I don't know if that's going to the contract with that.
You get a real estate tax.
I know it's-
Okay.
Okay, so,
Residences or.
You own your.
Yeah, so, but I guess we'll handle that, but that is something that we have to do this year.
okay, let's call this contract renewal, because it's not only this, but the cemetery maintenance contract has to be renewed. We need a cemetery.
This one's due to if we're gonna continue it.
The town hall?
Yeah.
It's part of the same
It's part of
thing.
the.
Oh, for
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
One thing, and I don't know if you have to under facilities or under budget, but I would like for us to look at something for the floors downstairs, because they're terrible.
Squeak, yeah.
Not even the squeak, I mean, this is like personal, compare my shoes up, like, because they're chips and there's like holes in the floor, you get stuff like, the
Town
old,
hall building.
yeah.
Like I said,
The big floors
Are
downstairs,
you talking about the flooring?
yeah.
Maybe.
alright, so let's, again,
Restricted.
under CIP, we have town hall upgrades, okay?
Mhm.
That's like the door and the
The
floor.
door and the floor.
Maybe you could fill out the CIP form, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, it's just personal, because it's eating my shoes, so.
Then you could fill out the form, it's all truck.
Thank you for you guys for.
Yeah.
So,
Get our little kids to work on the doors.
But you need to look at resealing the parking lot in the police department and maintenance department.
Okay, so-
Part.
Okay.
If we move them,
And also the cemetery, needs to be retained.
which one? Well, there's only one that has vacant, stupid question.
Yeah.
All of these, okay, I can see what the pennies have. I'm going to develop a CIP form. I will send it to staff and you guys as part of committees. Fill out the form with some idea of what you think it might cost. If you can get a quote that would be beneficial, we'll develop a 5 to 10 year CIP and place it in there and see what we can do. Okay?
Now, one other thing. Mark was talking the other night about buying signs for speeding.
He's got to go into the,
We don't do that under CIP.
He's got-
something he's got to,
he's got it in his budget. I told him do it.
okay.
Oh,
Let's make it happen.
No, now that you brought that up, there was, another bill that has sailed through that when it gets voted by the full House and Senate, it is going to eliminate the right of localities to use camera for, ticketing and for speeding. Because they say it's an invasion of the personal right of the driver.
But we don't have to.
Yeah.
I know there was discussion about can we
Yeah.
post,
But
utilize.
it contrabact on that because tolls do the same thing. And so there's gonna be a big.
Well, the-
Let's
division.
let's pivot for just a minute and on legislative goals. Let's just come up with 3 or 4 legislative goals because they impact the CIP. And I'll tell you one that Chief Knockman and I've talked about. There's the new governor's proposing a legislation to make police officers personally liable if they overstep.
That's correct. It just passed the House.
Well, you will see
the
a mass,
subcommittee.
a mass exodus of police.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastate the policing.
Yeah.
So let's take a minute. I think we should pose that bill.
Well, we can oppose it, but it's already been through subcommittee.
Let's draw 3 clear legislative goals for this session.
I mean, I know Jeff has talked about the fact that because we're part of VML, like you can leverage the VML lobbyists for pushing, your specific legislative goals. Everyone agrees on it.
Can we just take 10 minutes and you come up with?
You want the, well, the police is gonna be a hard one because that's a negative for the current administration. So you've got the House and the Senate on the side of the administration. So we can put it out there, as our position, but
I'm
we can do a resolution, like we did for the zone, like for the zoning, but they already, even though they had all these localities put in the submit resolutions, they've already sailed that through subcommittee.
Okay, this is a serious one.
It's very,
We're having a hard enough time finding police officers. If this bill passes, there'll be a mass exodus of the already limited supply.
yeah, it's not a constitutional amendment, so all it needs is a majority of the House of Delegates and the Senate.
Do we want to set a legislative goal?
We can. And we can draft resolutions stating our position. BML already has that out.
Then we could just take a vote to support their resolution.
Yeah, we can. But you have to be aware of what BML is out before you say, well, I support what BML is putting out. You have to be aware of what BML is putting out. The BML has spoken out against the zoning one is their primary one right now. They have not focused too much on the police issue because there's loss of zoning rights. That centers, not allowing residential, high density residential development in all localities. And the other one was, oh, yeah, for the denying, um, solar farms and data centers and anything that is deemed good for the inhabitants of the state overrides the needs of the locality.
This is your guys' world. You direct me on whatever legislation you're aware of that you think we should take a stand on. I personally think that one about police will lead to a mass exodus of police, and we can't afford that. That has to be, I think, in my opinion.
The police is a big one, and it's taking the action to not allow remote monitoring and the no police. It's like a double whammy. It's a double whammy.
On the camera. But what's the issue on that? The invasion of privacy?
Invasion of privacy.
Yeah, they talk about invasion of privacy. Wasn't there some movie with Jimmy Stewart where he called rear view window?
Yeah.
Where he looked at people's homes.
Yeah.
That's an invasion of privacy. I was shocked to see that movie. But looking at people's license plate.
When they look at the driver, you take a picture of the driver, so they can prove who's driving the vehicle.
Mine was just a picture of the vehicle. One I got one down in Georgia. We're doing 11 miles over the speed limit. And it was a picture of the rear of my car. So whoever that tag is registered to gets the tag.
I come across from Tom McGregor over there from Maryland. They took a picture of me.
Yeah, it's never one to different. Yeah, the one I got was like, it had the rear end of my car on the.
Did it get your good side?
Wow.
Terrible sight.
Yeah, we can. I mean, if you want, I can draft a resolution supporting, being against the police measures, and then we bring it to council.
Issue with recruiting police officers.
No money.
We just got that.
But it's a bigger,
It's a bigger issue.
since George Floyd, there's been a mass exodus of people wanting to be police officers. So everybody's competing for a limited pool because nobody wants to be a police officer because they receive it as disrespected now.
And when we do hire someone to train them, then we lose them to the higher pay locality. That's what we're like.
They just had their largest pool. So it's
So-
going back.
There was one YouTube was down in my office and we compared police officer starting salaries.
Yeah.
It was you. We're not low.
We're
No.
not low now.
No,
We're
We
still
went low before. We went low before.
no, it wasn't, we were not low before. It's keeping them because they get bonuses in other areas.
Well, they get overtime too.
And
It's not bonuses. They get the work at the football game and make extra money.
Okay, so what would you like to see on the list?
So for legislative goals, are you thinking just larger ones, or are you thinking about local?
Affecting the town. That has a direct impact on the town. We can't worry about Norfolk. We have to worry about what affects us.
there is a,
I can't shoot unless you got 5 acres.
So any other ones, well,
there is another bill out to remove the real estate tax deduction from 100% disabled veterans because it cuts down on the income that localities have. And believe it or not, they're actually pushing to eliminate the impact by reducing that deduction. And so that, because they want more money to pay for all this other stuff. And so I don't know if we want to be behind supporting, removing.
if you don't want, I think that's the county issue.
Yeah, because we have quite a few here.
I understand.
But yeah, that is something else that may come up that will.
I just think we need to focus on.
So on town, the only thing is really the police. Because everything else is more personal impact.
Okay.
And the zoning, but we already did the zoning one when we set that resolution.
Let's let Ash.
Could we have Jeff maybe give us, because I don't want to speak to something that I'm not like read on and versed on. could we potentially have Jeff provide us just some information on all of the things that have been introduced that could potentially impact municipalities like ourselves? And then, if we get the bylaws adopted with the new committee listing, one of them is a legislative committee, that then we can focus the efforts on like having that information. I'd love to have what the bill is, what specifically it's trying to do, how it impacts us, so that way we can make informed decisions.
I think
I was just standing here thinking that, I don't.
Yeah, that's what the Mel puts that out usually.
so. Let's pivot this to the legislative, all this issues,
Well, we gotta get bylaws and legislative.
which hopefully will be approved at the next. So we'll have a meeting on it. All right, let's get back to the CIP and the budget. What other goals that we talked about? Pay bands for staff, and to be equitable. What other goals for operating, things in the budget? I never ever want to increase the tax rate, so I know one goal for myself is to make sure we're budgeting and forecasting the appropriate level of revenue and expenses this time with the correct revenue and expense forecasts. So it's very clear. This year we'll have to do a budget adjustment to adjust many of these line items. And then take a look at equitable pay bands in the budget adjustment. I think even before we adopt the budget.
I would like to have a line item in the budget that is, and I know talk a little bit about it, that is, even if it's not funded initially,
Yeah.
but the community events or something
Right.
that as we host events, that potentially generate revenue from it. So whether that's vendor fairs or farmers markets that people pay for their booths, like we're not leveraging tax dollars to fund those. We're actually, it's self-sustaining.
So just a line item called community events. Absolutely, I think that's.
Also, what we're gonna go through tomorrow. Maybe we need, I don't know, if we're gonna pay out here or whatever, for set up emergency warming centers and stuff in the future. Have it ready for us to do that.
Hopefully the warming center won't be invoked until Monday.
Right, that's not,
Because we
well,
don't.
a storm coming.
Understand. But we need emergency money. We call it
Yeah.
emergency line
Yeah.
item. And also frankly, I need a contingency line item. When I can shift some money around without having to really, I mean, if we buy equipment breaks down and I need to move money, I need to have some contingency ability to move money into there.
Isn't there $5,000? You can go.
You did have a $5,000.
But there's no managers. There's no managers.
So it's not in the budget.
And you have to take from one.
It's in code, but it's not budget.
Just spending. but it's not-
Right.
Right, well, what I'm talking about is a little
amount, a small amount of money in case on. For the dam,
right.
No.
Right,
evaluation.
Yeah. So, the managers line item, I'm interested in doing a pay study. Because this is coming up with the, bands, discussion of the bands. I've already reached out to Thomas Jefferson Planning for some advice on how to get a pay study that's relatively. I want to put a pay study in there to look at pay and also making sure where the staff pay, it's like any business. If you're below the market, we're running into this with police. It's a market. For $1 more, people will go to another place for just pure money. But there's another element to that, and then what I'm
I
gonna
feel
look
like I would always kind of pop that into pay and benefits.
Correct.
Benefits evaluation.
pay and benefit evaluation, correct?
So that we were not just looking at the pay, but also like compensation package as a whole. What are we
Compensation
benefits standpoint that
Correct.
supports our whole employee?
Yes, and exactly, we talked about this. We can do a family supported health plan that you can, if you raise the deductible, and lower the annual cost on the primary insurer, you can take the savings and apply it to the supplemental plan. That will called a gap plan, that will cover the deductible. So then people have a family plan. Everywhere I've ever been, police have always said, well, what's your family plan? That's a big part of the recruitment package. Come here, you can, we're small enough staff, we could offer some form of family plan. And that's a big benefit to anybody, part of the recruitment.
Have HSA with it.
Possible.
Yeah, health savings.
Yeah, right, yeah,
That's really convenient.
HSA.
From the mid manager process.
I'm sorry.
You use brokers. Get away from the brokers. You'll have better chances of getting a more affordable policy. We're paying brokers now to do that.
I don't, in my experience, we don't pay them out of pocket. They make the insurer pay them, unless it's different here.
Yeah. Going to a local company to have them investigate benefits, costs. So go directly to Anthem or whomever and bypass all that other stuff, and they will give you the best rates and the best options.
Okay.
And then you can make a decision.
All right.
And you might just wanna ask your staff if a couple of them want to volunteer just to check those different companies out for you. Because it benefits them.
All right.
But
We're gonna, you're
but yeah, it needs to the benefits definitely need to be done, but you don't need to continue on a broker relationship.
I understand. Sometimes the broker though has more insight, professional knowledge into competitive pricing. But anyway, anything else on the budget? We already talked about CIP. We've already talked about, replacing aging equipment. We've already talked about the infrastructure projects to upgrade the buildings. All of that will go into the CIP. I'm developing this form. I will give you these committees a copy and my staff. You guys fill out the need with a description, a narrative, and some cost. If you can add some cost estimates, but you keep it. If you're going out to get quotes, it sounds like you're a staff employee. That's what I'm saying. I don't really don't want you to do that. Just guesstimate it.
I don't have anything that does that.
Yeah, okay. Let staff get the quotes, but just put the idea in the CI.
And I don't know if this is like operational excellence or part of the budget. But I do think thinking through, knowing to John's point, our water sewer projects that we have, capital improvement projects that we're identifying that we need. We really need to start considering who we. I know we used to have a part-time project manager and then got rid of that. Is that something that?
Okay, you're stealing my thunder.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're gonna move back. I've purposely done all this to set up for what we need for operation. So are we finished with the budget? Any other goals? Obviously, a goal for any town manager is to hold the tax rate the same or reduce it. I mean, no competent manager wants to increase taxes unless like a business. This is a business. We're running costs and we've got to cover our costs. We're not making a profit. You just have to cover costs.
If we ever get to the code review, there are fees set into the code, not taxes, that are fees for services.
Yes. Stephanie and I have already discussed this. Looking at alternative revenues this year, fees, alternative revenues were like such as the ticket tax, possible cigarette tax.
You already have one in place, you're not using.
I need to make sure that we're getting the monies that is due us, but also what is the appropriate tax structure for the town with consideration of alternative sources. And also that our fees and our fee schedule is up to date. Zoning fees, Stephanie's already looking into that. The zoning, building code, fees,
And permitting.
You probably,
permitting
you
fees.
probably want to see the draft code first, to see what the increased fees are in that, because it's never come before council, and then it got put off because we didn't know who the committees were gonna be. Or you have her do it.
Vicky, we're starting here, moving forward.
I know, that's
So-
what I'm saying. Before she looks up fees, she might wanna see what fees are on there, so she can
Oh, no,
compare,
she knows.
and then, cause she's never seen it.
You know what the fees are.
None of
They're
the,
adopted fees. It's the
no,
adopted,
this is the revised.
the revised.
The revised draft has fees in it that are significantly different.
What's the
And
revised?
codes usually have fees in.
Yes. And so,
As part of the budget, you adopt a fee schedule.
Yeah, I know we have a fee schedule. I didn't know that the fee schedule is in the code.
some, there are some,
There is some
Yes.
overlap.
and that's what she needs to see. So that she knows what's already proposed.
Correct.
So
But
my
the-
only concern about outlining is a lot of specific fees in code is that if we ever want to pivot and change those, it takes an ordinance. There's costs associated with that.
Oh, okay, there is some to adopt it and upgrade it in Unicode or whatever our code, amender is. But the first thing is to figure out if we are charging the appropriate
Yeah,
fees.
right.
If we're undercharging.
Yeah, we're
losing
undercharging a
money.
lot, and we raised a lot
I
of,
noticed.
we raised a lot
Right.
in the draft.
The first step for her is, here's our adopted fees. Are they competitive or where they should be? If so, where should they be to be fair to everybody, our taxpayer and the person paying the fees?
Yeah.
Then we have to go into the code and see the overlap and readapt the code.
Yeah, we compared localities, what they were charging, and we took the average and we changed ours to that.
Well, that's good. That's very progressive.
And I just wanna give it to you, so we'll have to,
I think there's still some that are real.
oh yeah, but this will at least, help from starting from scratch.
I did a boundary adjustment just the other day. I had to spend 10 hours on it and we charged them $25. That's not,
Crazy.
and that's what's in the code. It's in.
That's
the
the
code.
current code.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not what's in the revised code.
yeah. So we need to, that's been way more.
Right, in the revised code, they have to pay for staff time.
Okay, anything else on the budget? Pay study, looking at fees, alternative revenues. I'm fiscally conservative. I'll try to work with department heads on keeping expenses down. And line item, we'll look at meeting events line item, an emergency management line item. Do a good revenue expense forecast and develop the CIP to include things like the grinder pump, Ellisville pump station, town hall upgrade, and cemetery maintenance.
Yeah, Danny's not here, so I don't know what Hillcrest needs. I know we have run into funding issues with, repairing and taking care of the fencing and Oak. The people like to break it at the end and they rip the fence apart, to do it, it's iron. So,
It'll be on the budget.
yeah,
So,
so it will, I don't, that's the only ongoing cost.
and then upgrade IT equipment in the town hall. Look at our contract renewals. Because there's the, cemetery maintenance and, trash. Okay? Right, sure.
And the 2026 legislative,
I'll see that. Oh, yeah, yes.
and the 2026 BML legislative, recommendation book is out already, so we can just read that for it.
Okay, and then, definitely the police one, I think we
And
can,
that is on the bill now.
so I think that should be on the February agenda. There you go.
The last closure for, all blue bills was 3 p.m. Yesterday. So, they'll start voting. They only have the constitutional amendment vote in April. So it will be before then.
Yeah, so we need to act on that. Then we'll talk to Jeff on the legislative committee. after we adopt. All right, let's move on. Final.
We need for staff. That was.
Yes. Yes, I do. That's the thing. I do want to offer this year adequate provision of money for training. I want every staff member to feel that the sky's the limit for while they want to grow professionally. I should rephrase that. Our money allows them to pursue their professional goals in line with the organizational goals, and they're not stymied in a job with a dead end, that they feel that they can grow in the job, okay? So I want to put in a good training budget, and also training money for y'all, to go to VML conferences and things. If you ever get the time, at some point, I would like to prove my ability through ICMA potentially, but I don't have the time. Okay, all right, so let's move along, let's wrap it up. How we doing on time, man? Oh, very high. We need to really be done by one. And then get back on storm here. All right, let's go to operational excellence and wrap it up. Okay, so I'm the CEO of the organization, and it's my job to make sure things are moving forward with clear goals, that I treat the staff fairly and maintain the discipline, and that we're moving efficiently and effectively to achieve your vision and the strategies. I want to get, my philosophy has always been, give the staff what they need to be successful, and then let them do the job. I don't micromanage. I just try to provide mentoring and coaching as necessary and establish some metric of keep. I don't micromanage. I just I say I express a management need, and then I say, what do you need to make it happen? Primary example this year was with the new treasurer when we needed some more Virginia Municipal League support to get the audit uh, achieved. No fault of her, it's just that there was additional training that needed to be done. So I think we're on the right path. The one thing I will say, and I said this in the strategic needs assessment, I need more staff capacity. I need a grant writer, researcher, assistant to take under all these projects require research. For instance, we talked about economic development. To go to a Publix or grocery store, you have to have done your homework. You can't just walk in there and say, hey, come here. Well, why? I don't know. It doesn't work that way. You have to convince them what by data why it's to their profitability to come here. And that requires some thinking and capacity that just myself as zoning manager, program manager, etc. And I need support on that. I think we need to create a position that for that.
You're talking one position for that.
Right.
I just read my notes. That's one.
I'm sorry.
Full time.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And also with some program monitoring and maintenance to make sure, I mean, I'm working the water main replacement project with the consultant, but there's multiple projects, the lead line project, the sewer work, the work with VDOT. There's multiple projects that need oversight.
Project manager / zoning administrator.
No, I can handle zoning. I
Okay,
need
so
I need a research assistant, and these grants you talk about. We're leaving money on the table
Yeah, we are.
without somebody going after grant support, and not just grants from some Virginia Recreation Department, but from the General Assembly. So we could go to the General Assembly and say, for instance, on the $2 million cost share now and say, look, we have this huge cost coming in here. It would cost our taxpayer at 16.5 cents per $100, X amount of dollars. This is way beyond our ability to provide policing, public works and everything. Can you put in a bill for this? And many of them would love to do
The
that.
parks grant are federal. Those are federal.
Correct.
So are you thinking like like it's the program manager, but underneath of that scope or project manager is the grant, like seeking those things out, eyeing them all under one
It's just
position?
two different people.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about the need right now and that we need capacity. We need more capacity. And also, I think, as I said,
We had, and this is just a question, when we had a part-time project manager, did that work? And was that sufficient? I don't know, because never had a committee that actually had anything. So, John worked with projects, so what do you think?
At part-time, when we were lower on big projects, we keep the momentum with water sewer.
We look at our growth in the future.
It depends what's happening now. I think if it's just project,
I think it would be something like, it would
it
be
would have to be more
Like
than project
more than
manager.
project
There
management,
full-time.
like maybe. And the person who's doing the project management, they're also going to probably have the best knowledge on what grant opportunities they should be seeking because they know the project, so they know.
That depends, because I'm a professional project manager and we do zero grant training.
You want a great consultant.
Yeah, that's a totally different.
Not necessarily, we need a generalist.
The general.
Generalist who can research things and identify data needs and project needs and problem solve. But also, what if I got COVID? I think I need an assistant, to be honest. Every job really should have a backup. Every position should have a backup. So I'm envisioning something more of a grant writer, researcher, assistant, manager.
So what you're looking at, it paraphrase, is if you had an assistant manager that could fulfill those functions
Right.
and do the backup work, then that would
I think
suffice.
that was all town. And if the town was depopulating, I would say no. No, it's going to be more. We got to think forward. There's going to be more as more comes here, more issues, more VDOT issues, more need to work with tourism, more need to work with the county, more need for parks and recreation. We got to think ahead.
And I say something about now, the 300 and some $1,000 y'all said we're gonna get extra this year.
Yeah.
In our past budget, we put 85, I think it was. We drew it out of general funds, or would draw it out of general funds if
That's
needed.
contingent.
It was continued, if needed, we would draw it out to balance our budget. So in reality, in my book, the way I'm looking at it, we got $20,000. 300,000. So
Okay.
that was my.
We didn't fill positions, right?
No, our last budget was using all our revenues plus float time reserves. So we pulled that out of reserves. It's in the budget already.
What was that reserve?
It's 180.
It's 285 on the written. It's written as 285. I don't know what actually.
I'm somewhat confused. All I'm suggesting is, however you set the budget, the revenue side of things, in my estimation, even using a 2-year-old audit, is way too low by $300,000. I'm projecting more money than you anticipated. I don't know.
I think the reserves have just been traditional, we would have a CIP, so it wouldn't, I think that's the reserves.
The thing was that the anticipation included $285,000 out of general fund. Which,
But that would have been fundamental.
It was balanced with the budget.
That would have been.
Fundamental difference, but
I haven't done the expense forecast. The right way to do it is I need an assistant to help me
Yeah,
do a revenue
yeah,
expense
yeah,
forecast.
yeah.
And then say, town manager, here's where I forecast the revenues. Here's where I forecast the expenses, and I think we'll have this surplus.
Mhm.
So we start planning now. So, but I'm gonna do that.
Just want to make sure that, I have no problem. I can keep on getting tough, but as needed. But I do want to make sure our budget will handle what we got, what they were talking about.
Understood.
And, we're talking about $300,000, but I'm not seeing it up here. I'm seeing we took $285,000 out of general fund to balance our budget. So if we got a $300,000 plus, it's only $20,000 we get extra.
well,
That's my thinking. I might be wrong.
we do that reserves to balance the budget, and not be at a deficit. But most of the items, last budget was different than years before, so we invested more money into public works than we had before.
Yeah.
Because we found more issues.
And plus red pay, 5,000.
It's again, capital improvement plan would help us out a lot to balance our budget year what we said.
Yeah.
The other thing with Susan is he has only done the revenue, we haven't done any.
Yeah, but it's analyzed our budget that we have in place.
No, not yet, but let's set some goals for the operate, let's get back and let's wrap this up. But set some goals for operating excellence that you would like to see achieved. One will be to do the pay study and ensure adequate, pay band where pay needs to be competitive.
Could your assessment do the pay study or does that need to be contracted?
Both, it could be done that way, but it's more professional
Okay.
to have someone do.
That's enough. You don't have to elaborate.
So you guys give me 4, 5, 6, half a dozen.
Okay, pay study so that we can evaluate what the appropriate scale is for employees.
Okay.
For localities of our size and,
We get from.
and
Go ahead, say it again, please.
the pay study so that we can evaluate our current salaries against localities of similar size to make sure that we are paying,
Competitive wage
Competitive
and
wages.
wages
to
and.
include benefits, to
Yes,
include benefits.
wages.
And, looking at the hiring of the manager assistant that would perform the grants, research, project management, et cetera, et cetera. And be able to back you up if you're not here.
All right, very good. Okay, and let's go with another, I think another one will be, implement, an excellent family medical plan. Should be,
I mean, any kind of medical.
yes, family medical, that's a real benefit to accrue to anybody. Implement a family medical plan,
Implement our study when you say if we jump forward.
well, I'm sorry, you're correct, study,
Well,
it's just a go, study,
Share,
it's just a
but
go.
everybody has
Study,
to think
and
about it.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't advocate anything that raises the insurance costs hundreds of thousands.
So like you told me, nickel raised active.
No manager wants to raise, I don't know, we'll have that perception. No manager wants to raise taxes. Every manager wants to lower taxes. Just believe me. So, but we're running a business, there's a cost of the service delivery as Exxon has. But we're not in the profit business. People don't understand. We're only to cover our costs.
Right.
And that's it. And the costs should be based as much as possible on the market, what the market will pay. Everybody's job, my job, everybody's, police, everybody, and that's it. Don't give $1 more. Get it back, get back. It's not family medical. Family medical. Anything else? The
You got
assistant,
this-
project manager,
Put the school.
oh,
Do you
yeah.
want to, I don't know, whether this, yeah,
Yeah.
meetings.
Adequate training budget.
I would like to see, the town manager attend the small town, conference every year.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that, I plan to do that.
Yeah.
That would,
I just don't want that training to be, well, I'm not sure, is that under staff training or would that be under the other umbrella? That's why.
we have an existing training line item. I know I have to look at it, but that's gonna be in this fiscal year.
Yeah.
So, but I think that falls under adequate training budget.
Okay, that's fine.
do you, just from an operational, like, day-to-day personnel policies, like, I know we've talked about our, like, the need to get, to just understand what policies we don't have and what policies we
Transfer money within funds. That should be part of that. Sorry, debt level, exactly.
Do we have in our policies, do we have like a field or arbitration set up for the employees if they have an issue with something?
We do, we really, we need to update the personnel. Just need to be upgraded. Or it doesn't, but it needs to be, that's discussed and adopted as such, so he's too old.
Mr. Larry and I started working on our personnel now, because it like needed a lot of work. It's gonna be a while, because it does.
That's okay, it's not as good.
And to go back to like the HR point, Stuart really is like judge, jury, executioner, so
That's why,
you know,
I'm
there's
not
no.
executioner.
So, he,
I don't have a hangman's noose thing, but that's.
but really, and Stuart and I discussed this when he first got here, there's no middle level. Right, so they're like, you know.
I should be the final arbiter.
Right,
So with the personnel policy, that's what I'm talking about, I need an assistant to do something like that.
So we just want to say like just policies in general. I feel
Yeah.
like that's like a.
Yes, let's just call it
Latitude for a lot of them.
but that's not gonna really require a budget to
No.
do, I don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about operational excellence,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
like just how we run our operation.
you're correct. I got my mind on the budget, policy upgrade, yeah, our policy number, correct. All right, anything else on operating excellence? My philosophy, as I said at the outset, is we're here to deliver a service at a higher level of excellence. I want staff to feel safe and comfortable here, have a good time and want to be here, but also in a professional environment where they can grow. And try to help them.
one question
Yeah.
under operational excellence, should we be having 2 council meetings instead of 1 in order to shorten the meetings and to get work done in a more expeditious fashion like the county does?
I disagree, because I've done this before. We have a workshop and a meeting. And what I spend all my time doing rather than solving problems is it's like the SOLs. I teach it to the test. I spend all my time working on the agendas and
I'll
not
take
solving.
that, I'll take that.
Yes.
I think too, what you brought up at the meeting, on Tuesday, I think will be very beneficial is once we get those agenda packets out, like they need to be read ahead of time. They need to be looked at beforehand. And if there are questions that can be answered beforehand, we should be asking them before.
I think with the decrease of supplemental items too, because I think
Yes.
that, you know, it's for me and my staff up until time for the meeting, you know, there's time where we're putting in supplements like all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do a cutoff. But again, the meeting notice requirement is 3 days before the meeting. But that's still too short. I know you're trying to put it out a week ahead of time. But then there's a gap between the 7 days and the 3 days where people do supplements. We do need to get away with that. And I'm also gonna be more proactive and ask you guys, once we set the draft agenda, give me your feedback and your questions to address, so we're not spending a lot of time in the meeting. The goal of the meeting should flow fairly quickly, business-like, and you understand she's doing a good job with that. Should flow quickly from item to item, and the discussion should not really get in the weeds out there, because that should have been answered in advance. It should be at a higher policy level of, was this policy direction we want to go?
And with that regard, and I'll use the bylaws, they never went to the legal committee for review. And that's what you're getting now in the meeting. You're getting the legal review because everything I was telling you was from the legal aspect. So, and the notes that I still have are all legal related. If it would have gone, and it would have gone before Jeff and the legal committee, before it even got there, we would not be making these changes.
Written by Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Jeff is the one that's saying you're correct, that needs to be changed. So, that's where more than one set of eyes comes into, being.
So I understand.
Sure. On the, thing that shows our, what bills we pay and so forth. I'm not a financial whiz on community stuff or anything, but, it doesn't show everything. Yeah. You know, it doesn't show our debt payments, it doesn't show our salaries. I'm not worried about individual salaries, but total salary. It doesn't show exactly what our cost for that month is. And
Oh, yeah, I'm working on the financial report with, the treasurer and the consultant. And the problem is because we have to fix the BAI system and, finish out the account reconciliations. The audit's supposed to start Monday. We've had to do all these reports manually because the BII system has been not reporting accurately. It's been flowing into the last fiscal year. So they've had to do everything you see in the financial reports we're sending out now are all manual calculations. Once the BAI system is fixed, hopefully through the audit, then they'll be able to download the information
we
fast.
get it complete.
But I think what Mr. Henry's talking about is the bill, not Francesca's treasurer.
Right.
So and I think that's separate and different because those are like literal bills that have to be paid instead of something like salary, you know, yes, yeah.
Well, I'm
just talking about everything we pay for.
Because that's,
Like you see.
I think he's talking about everybody's paying.
he wants to know.
No, I'm talking about complete list of what it costs us to operate that month. Not just the bills we pay,
Right,
Bigger.
the salaries,
Yeah,
the
see, he's talking.
trash payment, I think that's in there. All the bills, so we can see.
The
exactly what
monthly,
cost
the
is.
monthly cost of
That's the
certain.
way I've always looked at it.
Okay.
I just think it's something to discuss too, though, that. Because it's like, we don't pay bills until you guys vote on it, so sometimes we're behind, I don't really. Be somehow now where like, people aren't getting salary paid until, you know, so we definitely need to separate
Yeah.
whatever we're doing, so it's not.
Let's see the bill list and then you want like
monthly kind of update for expenses.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you look at, it's not voted on, it's just like calculation for it.
Something over.
I'm so used to, what did it cost me this?
Yeah, that's our business.
What's the total business cost?
Yeah.
Right, that's our
Yeah.
business.
In each fund, so
Right.
general fund, water and sewer.
Is that too much to have? I mean,
But that's but what I'm saying is the BII system hasn't
Will do
been
that.
in the place. You can put in a ticket and say, give me all those general fund expenses
mhm.
for this month. The problem with BAI, that's their hard, as they say, so it won't roll it up. It gets every line item. It doesn't summarize it.
That's because it uses computer code numbers for everything, right?
Correct.
Yeah. that's
So,
why.
so I couldn't get, I say, give me a succinct executive summary of all general fund salaries across departments and all FICA and all medical deduction in the general fund in one page. It just breaks it all down into all the line items. You
Yeah.
get a 10-page report.
Oh.
And then you gotta, we're doing the manual work with the summary.
Mhm.
That's why we need a
New Testament.
it's an antiquated system.
Yeah.
So the query, you can't put in a query to get what you want. You get just what they got,
Mhm.
which is just the details.
That's
That's
how I'm so used to operating.
We're almost a
So
joke.
close my mind, I see a partial of what we pay, but I don't see.
We're just working with the antiquated software system, so it's just what we do. Okay, anything else? We're good in the room. Covered a lot of.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. That's it.
Stephanie, did you? You've got some good contribution.
No, the general.
Anybody else? For the good. Okay, let me just wrap it up. We covered a lot of ground. The reason for this meeting is to get all these things out on the table that we can address through the budget. I've laid out a calendar. It's somewhat flexible. I'll give you guys the CIP forms. I'll meet with department heads. I'll write a budget message to everybody describing what we've just discussed, the goals. And then we'll move forward in the budget. I want to methodically, systematically, and then we'll adopt it in May at the latest. Okay? Everybody good? Any questions?
We'd just like to give you guys an update that ours is the only charter that made it through subcommittee.
Thank you.
The others were tabled, other locations were tabled due to, questions and the way ours was written. Both sides full agreement. And in fact, they said it may not have to go to subcommittee in the Senate because there were 0 no votes on ours. And they may just go on their agenda and then go before the full House. So it looks like, it'll go through, but yeah, all the rest of them were tabled. Ours was the only one to go.
Well, that's fantastic. And I think we should look ahead to our representative and as I suggest, get some clear goals to put in the budget. It's a biannual budget. So, for instance, the sewer upgrade, if we can get a PBR and hand it to them on that.
It's a lot of sales you do it. Oh, that's your, right. Yeah, last year, then you see it.
Yes, they might.
I don't know if they're.
Well, I have Anthony talking. So, all right. Any questions? Yeah, sure.
One of these days, what's that see?
Is there something wrong?
God's not seen it.
The what, son?
That's when
Oh,
that's off to the left.
well, thank you, Roger, but
Does that go in the long range column or?
yes. I'm doing that. Fix the O. What's up?
Whatever. Okay. Mission.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Wait, yeah,
Second. What? Or
all in favor.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Well, you know, it's a big thing.
we can look back, my brother,